Canada losing in overtime to the United States. The States tied the game. This is very similar to yesterday. They tied the game with just over 2 minutes to go. They have a flood, which was different. Of course, it is a 20-minute 3-on-3 period in overtime. And Canada had a lot of pressure. They thought they looked good, but the U.S. gets a chance. I have to say, probably, Connor, fair to say, a pretty good individual play on that rush, and they win the gold. USA going into this game was the heavy favorite, no question. But Canada gave them everything they had, and you know what? If I'm sure Canada will look back, if they have any regrets, it'll be the power play. They had 2 power plays in the first period. They had a power play late in the third period. You score there, it's game over. No question. It would have been game over then. But unfortunately, it was a heck of a game. And it just makes you think about tomorrow, the semifinal games, and then, of course, the upcoming Canada will be in it. So we will see. We'll talk more about the Olympics as, of course, they continue on. Some talk about the Edmonton Oilers. Got some intel on some things I think Oilers fans might be intrigued by. So that'll be coming up later on. Landon Ferraro will join us today. David Owens from Sherbrooke. We got TR, Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine. We'll set it up. UC Saros had some pretty good numbers so far for Finn. How can Canada beat him? We got John Buccigross from NHL on ESPN. Of course, we'll talk about the women's game and the upcoming semis and final for the men. Spec. We got Camp Tate, Livingston. So busy Thursday. Connor Halley is here. Declan Kruger is here. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Can always text us. Cons, what were your thoughts on the game?
Honestly, I got to give the women a lot of credit because I kind of went into this one thinking that the States would run away with it the way they have in the last 7 meetings that these two teams have played. They had a really good effort, shut them down offensively. Unfortunately, that late goal for Hillary Knight, she's clutch. We know that about her. Deflection, just pucks on net. And then in overtime, anything can happen. And Megan Keller made a heck of a play. I thought Claire Thompson, unfortunately, hard to say she misplayed it. I just want to give Megan Keller credit for it. Snuck it 5-hole, kind of trickled it through there, and the United States got the win. But the way we talked about this Canadian team, I don't think many people gave them a chance. So to even get this to overtime, just giving up the 1 goal against, I thought they played pretty stingy, got some big saves. They don't care, but I think it was an effort to be proud of. They gave it all they had, and just unfortunately that 3-on-3 overtime, anything can happen, like we saw yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. It was it was a great game, very very competitive. I thought Canada gave the States everything. You don't want to get walked in 3-on-3 because when they have that much space, usually if you can beat someone 1-on-1, you're going to end up with a really good scoring chance, and that's what happened. So there you go. Let's get to some Oilers talk. The Oilers, of course, skating today. No Draisaitl, no McDavid. A few things on the Edmonton Oilers. When it comes to the Paul Coffey situation, do I think the owner had some say in getting the ball rolling? 1,000%. But Chris Knobloch still had the veto power if he wanted it. He had to agree to it. He did agree to it. Feels that, just they could use a little boost. So this was not one that the coach had no say in at all. The coach still had the power. If he would have chosen, he could have said no. But felt like they were missing a little something. And so Paul Coffey is back on the bench. He will be back on the practice ice with them on Saturday. They practiced again today. Tomorrow's a day off. They'll practice Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then fly out to Anaheim. The other thing that, as I was watching watching practice today and looking at line combinations and looking how Josh Szymanski played, I'm going to say it pretty confidently, Connor Halley, that I fully expect Josh Szymanski to be up with the Oilers. And whether or not it's the first game because salary cap and stuff, maybe. But even then, I'd be surprised if it wasn't. I think that Josh Szymanski really opened up the eyes. I think the coach trusts him, and the coach really likes him. And I think you're going to see Josh Szymanski here. So with Szymanski here, I think Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is going to stay on the wing. And you're going to have Nugent-Hopkins, David Hyman, they'll stay together as a line. I'm curious, though, on who they'll play with Szymanski. So tell me what you think about this, Connor Halley. Here is what I foresee. And I'm basing this on, I was crunching some numbers earlier this morning and looking at time on ice and who plays with who and different things. So, I'm assuming that Adam Henrique, and I talked to Adam, and we're actually going to play that interview later on in the show today. I talked to him about his return, and he's 100%. He's ready to go. He'll be activated next week, and he'll be in the lineup against his former team, the Anaheim Ducks. So I have McDavid playing as a line. So then I'm looking, okay, well, who are you going to play Szymanski with? Here's my line, and here's my reasoning. So I guess I'll go second. I would play Kapanen, Draisaitl, and Roslovic. Because I do think that Jack Roslovic, he's more naturally skilled offensively than Podkolzin. I really like Podkolzin. But I think Roslovic is that. And you know what? He's a shooter. He played really well with Draisaitl. I kind of like, he can play in his offside. He can play either way. So I know that puts him on the left side. Then I would have Podkolzin, Szymanski, and Frederick. Bigger line. I'm kind of going to challenge them to be a little bit of a checking line. And then I'm going to have Henrique with Savoy and here's why. Henrique and Savoy, if you look at their penalty kill numbers together, quite good. And I think they're going to kill together. They also are both on the second unit power play. So you have them on the kill together. You have them on the second unit power play together. Then you have them on their line together. It keeps your lines a little bit more in focus. Now, who's going to be on that other line? It's going to be a combination of guys. I think Matthias Janmark, and this is just me. Like at some point, you can't keep relying solely on your reputation of what you've done in the previous playoffs. At some point, there has to be more. Now, he's a really good teammate. He plays hard. Like his speed's great. I have no issues with the effort, any of that from Janmark. It's just at the end of the day, there's been no results. At some point, there needs to be some results. So whether it's, and you know what? Curtis Lazar can play there. And I don't mind if Curtis Lazar plays off wing. I don't have a problem with it. Savoy can play left wing, whatever. You can switch. You might have a rotation there. What do you make of that, Cons?
I am kind of intrigued of your checking line there. Like Szymanski, he's going to be hungry. He'll be flying around out there. Podkolzin, you don't have to ask him twice. He's going to do those sorts of things. Could that kind of get Frederick going? Like, all right, they're doing it. I got to do it too. I can't be the odd man out. So I do kind of like that you have that wrinkle in there. That stood out to me.
Okay. So it's just something to consider when I'm looking at it. You would have asked me 6 weeks ago what I think the number one. I thought the Oilers, hey, they're gonna put Nugent-Hopkins as a center and get a scoring winger. I was looking at so they tried Nuge as a third line center. I went through that game that they tried him in third line center. The problem with Nugent-Hopkins as your third line center is he's on the penalty kill and he's on the power play. If he's going to have a regular rotation with his line, it's hard to do. Right? You're not going to have much continuity there. And so that's why I think Nugent-Hopkins will stay with McDavid and Hyman. Because unless you're going to pull them off of one of those two units, and they're definitely not pulling them off the power play. And I'd be surprised if they pulled them off the penalty kill. I could be wrong, but, we'll see. So when I look at that, and then I look at Josh Szymanski, and I know, hey, this is a small sample size, and some people might say I'm jumping the gun, and that's valid. But here's my mindset, Cons. I'm not sure Edmonton has enough cap space or assets to make two moves to get a third line center. Because I'm going to say, you know what the number one priority for me is for the Edmonton Oilers now? It's a second pair right defense. That's what I think priority number one is. So I'm going to have that guy there. I'm going to move Jake Wallman to play with Emberson. Now, Jake Wallman is a number 5, still going to play a lot of minutes. So then I'm going to use my assets to get a second pair right defenseman. It's not going to be easy, because Dallas is looking for one. There's multiple other teams looking for one. But that's where I stand. Did a little writing about it today at home and was looking at some combinations. Some are maybe a little bit different. People haven't seen them. People are like, what do you, I got some text. Why would you take Podkolzin away from Draisaitl? That's valid. But Jack Roslovic to me is more of a top 6 winger. And so I'm trying to put guys in that I think are top 6 wingers, right? Hey, Gregor, I'd play Hudson and Howard with Szymanski. Jay, no chance. First of all, Ike Howard's not a checker. Neither is Hudson. Josh Szymanski is a guy who I think is going to start, and he's very reliable defensively. Good in the face-off, decent in the face-off dot. You're not playing with Hudson and Howard. You're not going to have 3 rookies, man. And come on. I know people always say, well, what about the kid line, 1990? Yeah, there was no rookies, right? Joe Murphy was in his 4th NHL season. Adam Graves, I think, was in his 3rd. Right? They were young. They called him the kid line because they were younger, but they weren't all rookies. You're not going to play Szymanski, Howard. Jelena might have been a rookie, but you are not playing Szymanski, Howard, and Hudson on a line in the playoffs. Okay, or even in the regular season. It's just not happening. Right? Marty Jelena, he was a rookie. So that's fine. Came in and you know what? Really good for him. But Joe Murphy was far from a rookie. Right? Joe Murphy was the first overall pick in 1986. And he had played almost 100 games before he came to the Oilers. Up parts of 3 different NHL seasons with the Red Wings, right? Was up and down. So wasn't a rookie. And he was young. Yeah, 22, but not a rookie. And obviously they had Adam Graves as well, and he was physical, and that's the other thing. Like Graves was a real banger, man. And Jelena, I don't know if people remember that, the younger generation, but Marty Jelena was a tank. That guy was put together. Hudson and Howard, they're both smaller wingers. There is 0 chance that those guys are on a line together with Szymanski on the Edmonton Oilers. There's no chance, right? Adam Graves was in his 2nd season, so yeah, not a rookie. You're not having 3 rookies. So don't compare him to the kid line. Can't do it. It's unfair. Yes, young, but experience way more for there. Hey, Greg, speaking of right pair defenseman, any chance you get Parayko? I'd take Colin Parayko. I have no problem. If Colin Parayko's my 2nd pair right defenseman, I'd be pretty happy. Very happy with that. But, what can you offer St. Louis and what they'd be like? If, you know what? Okay, take Mangiapane. You got to start there to get the cap working. Fine. But he's just a piece to make the cap work at that point. You're going to have to, I think, offer significant to get a guy like Colton Parayko. Right? The guy played in 4 nations. He's playing on the Olympic team. I know some are like, whatever. But hey, Colton Parayko's a really good player. Big, strong, can skate well, has tons of experience. Yeah, he'd be ideal. What's the cost, though? I think it'd be pretty hefty. I'm not saying I would balk at it. If I got to give up a 1st and Howard Mangiapane, I'll say it right now, I'd do that. I would do that, Connor Alley, would you? I'm not even sure that would get you that, but I would do that.
You're in that window, Gregor. This is the time to be aggressive, right? It's going to cost you prospects if you were to bring in a player like Parayko.
Yeah, and the other thing is, cap-wise, Mangiapane, you need even more. I gotta free up some other salary somehow to make it work. So that's even the other challenge there. So because St. Louis, I don't think is retaining salary on Colton Parayko. So you probably have to throw in Janmark. So now that's I'm trying to do that. That would be $5 million, right? Between Janmark, 1.4, 3.6. So that's $5 million. But even that's not enough yet. So, God, but I would now remember what did Ekholm? They retained $250K. Right. But Parayko's 6.5. So you're still $1.5 million short. I don't think they're retaining 1.5 for 4 years. So you got to give up even more. That's what makes it difficult. So would I do Parayko? Yes. What other pieces are we adding? I'm going to have to do something. So come with it. Hey, guys, we don't need to try rookies. It's Cupper Buswell McDavid's here from Jamie from Beaumont. Yeah, buddy, I'm 100% with you. Now, you can have Szymanski, and you already have Matt Savoy, who I really like him. But you're not going to have 4 rookies on the team, guys. We got to be realistic here, right? Let's be realistic. Hey, Gregor, maybe Frederick's part of that deal. St. Louis guy. Well, sure. But again, would he waive to go home? Probably. But if you're St. Louis, like, I guess I'm including him just to make the money work, right? Because even at 3.8, if it's him and Mangiapane, sure, then the money works, no problem. But you're going to have to give up a lot more too, right? Like, because you're giving up, you're asking St. Louis to take on 7 years of Frederick. And then even if you do trade Frederick, you still need another forward here, that you can get in either in that trade or somewhere else, right? So we do have to keep that in mind. But that's one. Hey, Greg's, what about Murphy in Chicago? Now, that's the other name. Very good one. He's in the last year of his deal. He makes 4.4, so it's lower, right? Like, you can make the money work a lot easier because Chicago would retain, no question in my mind, right? They're going to retain to get something for him. Connor Murphy, I think, would have some value. I'd have time for Connor Murphy, no question. And that's probably an easier trade to make. The cost isn't as high. His salary's $2.1 million lower. So it would fit in. I'd have no problem with that one, Nathan. I had a list of guys, and he's one of the guys on the list. So that's one to consider. But right now, when I look at things, I was looking at how they use Nugent Hopkins in that game. I don't know if third line center, because he's on the penalty kill and he's on the power play, if it's really feasible for him to be your third line center. Because how are you going to get that? Because you can't rotate his line evenly and play him in the PK and play him on the power play. Then his line's playing as much as McDavid. Well, that's not happening, right? And it's not good for Nugent Hopkins. Like, he's a good player around 18. He can't play 4 minutes. Like, he can every now and then, sure, right? In an overtime game, of course, but not on a night-to-night basis. So we'll get more into that. A really good conversation with Adam Henrique. And I will say this about Henrique. He looked quicker today in practice. Right, his hands fine. He's been able to skate. That's the one advantage of his injury, was it wasn't like his conditioning is laboring because of it. He's been able to skate here for quite some time. He was skating before they went on the break, and he comes in. He's obviously ready to go. He admitted that, got to get a little bit more offense going, no question. But you got to come in. You help the penalty kill, and him and Savoy were pretty good at the penalty killing unit. So I think that's a unit you'll have together. McDavid, obviously, they like him. If the numbers all suggest, he's been their best penalty killer. Nugent Hopkins kills penalties. You got Kapanen. You got Podkolzin. So you've got enough guys who can kill penalties, no question. Curtis Lazar, right? Janmark, if one of those two is in the lineup, they can kill penalties. So you would have enough guys there. But I think Henrique and Savoy are going to be two of your top 4 penalty killers, and they're on the second power play. Now, I know the second power play doesn't get a ton of time, but they do get some. But that's how you can keep them as a line. So that's why I have them as a line. Not saying the coach would think that way, but that's how I have them. So we'll touch on that and more. We'll return. Landon Ferraro joins us on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already. Yeah, we're working in your basement. Doing a replacement. The work is so earnestly building your legacy. With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium one-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
Top quality flooring, locally owned, and Canadian products from Beaulieu. Yeah, that's CFI.
CFI what?
No, CFI, Custom Floors Inc.
From free estimate to professional installation, contact Custom Floors Inc. at customfloorsinc.ca.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, junior chicken, or chicken snack wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Do you listen to sports radio at work? Like right now? Well, do you?
Who, me? No way. I swear.
Okay, friend, we won't tell. Tens of thousands of sports fans listen to Sports 1440 each and every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. If you listen to Sports 1440 at work, well, maybe it's time to advertise on Sports 1440 at work. Grow your business, get your name out there. Shoot our ad team an email, Gregor at sports1440.ca. Let's get to work for you.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Oh, Canada. Jiffy Lube is here to keep you moving through mornings like these. Full synthetic oil changes, quality Pennzoil products, tire checks, battery tests, and everything else your car needs to get through our winters. Stop by Jiffy Lube for fast, easy, warranty-approved service. No appointment, no hassle. Just dependable service right when you need it. Jiffy Lube, keeping you moving through this.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
224. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. It's the Gregor Show, as always, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. It's Thursday. One of my favorite games to play, the Daily Grand, where you could win $1,000 a day for the next 20 years. Total of $7.3 million. Woo! Get you in a good mood every day. If all of a sudden, beep, oh, you got $1,000 deposit. Every day. That's a one, like there's certain things over time you'd say you get bored of. I don't think you'd ever get bored of that. In a bad mood, all of a sudden, what? Oh, hey, just got $1,000. Nice. Come on. That would be quite nice. So we'll see how it goes. We got a lot of texts coming in, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We should say, hey, shout out to the Canadian women in hockey. Hey, USA was favored based on how they played, and Canada gave them everything. They were 2 minutes away. God, it was close. And then they had really good chances in overtime. I thought they kind of controlled a little bit more of the play in OT. But, Keller, who logged the most minutes for Team USA, ends up scoring. What about Renata Fast? You see how many minutes she played? She played 31 minutes, and she played almost half of the third period. Oh, easily their best skater. She was, she's out there and wheeling around. And so, obviously, it's devastating when you for that's the one sport where I think silvers just feels brutal. Like a lot of other sports, man, sometimes you'll do your best. It's unreal. You set a record, personal best. What happens? Some are judging events, sure. But in women's hockey, there's Canada and the U.S., and then there's everybody else. And I know that, yeah, sure, the game was close against Switzerland. I get all that. And the Swiss didn't win the bronze. But, going in, everybody said Canada, U.S. in the final, and that's what happened. And unfortunately for the Canadians, a really good effort, though, man. In a one-gamer, it was close. It was very, very close. Now, let's talk some hockey. NHL as well as the Edmonton Oilers a little bit as we go around the NHL. Brought to you by McDonald's. And do you like Frank's Red Hot? Who doesn't? Dip your McNuggets in it. Probably never tried it. You can now. Or how about on your McChicken? Frank's Red Hot is coming to the McDonald's menu, but only for a limited time. Try it now. Varies. McDonald's. As a Landon Ferraro, pre- and post-game host here on Sports 1440, former NHLer. Joins us, Landon. How you doing, man?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
I am excellent. Man, the last few days of hockey, if you're a fan of just intrigue and down to the wire, 4 games, the last 4 games have all been tied in the last 3.5 minutes of the game going to overtime. Like, that's, from an entertainment standpoint, you can't get much better than that.
It was unbelievable. Like, it was the first time I truly felt like a fan watching a game in a long time, right? Like, getting the tip-in goal, Suzuki to tie it up, like basically jumping off the couch, like, it's exciting. And the drama of it all, like you said, like, it goes from basically all 4 of the games being the underdogs going to win to fighting back and giving us some really good entertainment. I mean, overtime is crazy to watch at that pace, and the way that they're going back and forth. As much as there is, like possession and rolling back out, it felt like both teams, or basically every team, was wanting to play more and be more direct with it, trying and not just kind of hang out like they do watching in the NHL, where they're somewhat okay just waiting for the shootout, right? Here, there's going to have to be a goal scored, so might as well go get it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. You look at at Canada now. Give me your thoughts on their matchup against Finland.
It's going to be interesting, right? Like, obviously with the Crosby conversation and where that goes, but at the same time, it was really nice seeing Nick Suzuki move back to the middle and be able to play some of those minutes and really produce and play well. All the guys are just, I mean, regardless of who's in the lineup, you're going to have to be at your best. You're going to have to be sharp all the way from goalie out front, right? Like, that's the hard part of single elimination. You could be playing a team that's missing their best 2 players, but all the rest of the guys are a little extra inspired, and the goalie has a day, and it doesn't matter that a Finland team doesn't have Barkov in the lineup. You go through that forward roster, they're really good. It falls off a bit on the back end, and that's where, if you're Canada looking at playing them, you have to attack. You have to spend as much time turning the feet of the defensemen for the Finns. Their second and third pairings are there to take advantage of a little bit.
Oh, yes, no question. But, just based on what we've seen with Dallas, I think Heiskanen, you're going to see him. They're going to try to have him on the ice as much as they can against McDavid. Not that that's going to, slow him down and eliminate him out of the game. We've seen McDavid always finds ways, doesn't matter who he plays against. But, Heiskanen is one of the elite skaters, and I think that they're going to, what we saw from Canada in the third period in overtime, where they're we call them depth guys, but hey, anytime you're on McDavid and McKinnon, then you're a depth guy. So
I think they're okay with that.
Yeah, and their depth guys came up big, and they needed that. But I think we'll see the Heiskanen line out against them for sure. Sidney Crosby seems doubtful at this point. So what would you do with your lines then, with him out of the lineup?
Well, I mean, I would keep it with Celebrini, McDavid, Wilson, like trying to keep as much as similar as possible, just moving Suzuki into the middle, which, again, you got a much better player out of him for it. Like, he's a natural center that is truly a center and hasn't spent a ton of time on wings. So sliding him back in, like, everything looks basically the same, and then just taking a little bit of Edmonton philosophy of just peppering in shifts of McKinnon moving back up and playing with Celebrini and McDavid. Anytime that you feel the game pulling a little bit into the Finns' favor, you chuck them back out and try and take advantage of that momentum right away. But honestly, like, most of it stays right about the same, and you just, and you just let them go. Like, you can look at it all you want. At the end of the day, like, the guys just need to play, and if they play the way that they can, not much else is really going to matter, right? Like, you see how it is out there as well. Once they're out, like, those three forwards are flowing through positions and covering up. There's so many players that can handle different responsibilities. So after the start of a shift, really it's free flow and just make the right read.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I am kind of like, he'll be out by the international rules. They have to name a captain. I'm guessing it might be McDavid for that game, and then you need to go back to it. But like Nathan McKinnon, like I've seen, you got like they need a little bit more from him 5-on-5.
Yeah, you would obviously like to see it. Like the question of health comes into it. How much is he able to do right now? Because it doesn't look the same. Watching the game yesterday. End up having a discussion with a couple of my buddies that I was watching with, and like he doesn't have that same like aggressive attack feel to him. Like every time he gets the puck, he's that bull in a china shop going downhill, and you can just feel like almost the anger in his strides as he's like cutting towards the net, and that feels like it's missing a little of that intensity, which after he got the hit against France and he goes around and throws a couple big hits and we see him limping off, like you have to start thinking, like, is that playing into it a little bit?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I can see that. Switching over to the Edmonton Oilers. And you know what? 6 weeks ago, I thought for sure, third line center, it's either Nugent Hopkins or they got to go get one. They got to move it. And I watched and I went through the line charts because I had nothing else to do. And you played, so tell me, Landon, like I always thought, hey, Nugent Hopkins, third line center makes a lot of sense. The problem is when I went and looked at that game, because he's on the number one power play and he's on their penalty kill, if he's your third line center and you want to keep him on his line, there's just not enough minutes. Like it doesn't work, right? Because Obviously you got McDavid's line, you got Draisaitl's line. You can't have the third line with Nuge playing that much together if he's also on your power play and your penalty kill. It just doesn't work, right? Like McDavid and Draisaitl can play that many minutes. He can't. So I think Nugent Hopkins will stay then as a winger. And I think the Oilers' number one priority now is a second pair right defenseman. I can move Jake Wallman to the third pair to play with Emberson. He's my number 5, can play a lot of minutes. And if I have to mix and match, away I go. But that's what I would look for as my number one priority. And then I've really kind of come around to Josh Szymanski, and that, I have my top 2 scoring lines, and my third and fourth line, it's kind of going to be a checking line. I'm going to play Podkolzin with Frederick and Szymanski. And I'm going to play Henrique with Savoy because they're penalty killing together. They're also on the second unit power play, so that keeps their line in rotation a little bit easier. And then whoever the left winger is, it's one of Janmark, it's Lazar, it's maybe someone else. But what do you think of those combinations? And then my second line is Roslovic, Draisaitl, and Kapanen.
I mean, to be honest, like it does make a lot of sense. As you're going through it, I'm trying to think of different ways to maybe poke a hole in it or have a different thought, but like it makes a lot of sense. When you look at the Edmonton Oilers as a whole, they're missing, scoring for, another winger up front, but they do need help on the back end. And if you look at if you're only going to be able to do one of them, it does make a bit more sense to look at the defensive side of the puck, because the top 2 lines will score and your power play will score. The depth scoring has shown up in playoffs, so you're half kind of counting on that to return to form. But on the defensive side, there needs to be another, call it a clog piece, like someone that can play those heavy minutes, that's going to be able to really be hard to play against in front of the net. Like bringing in, honestly, like someone like an older veteran, not a Luke Shen, but like something like that can play those heavy minutes might be something that could help on the back end. I think that, a guy like Spencer Stastny, he's done good, but someone else a little mean back there, so it's not just Darnell Nurse, being tough in front of the net. Emberson does a decent job as well, not to discount him, but again, like just a bit more muscle to help in those tough matchups.
Talking Oilers, talking Olympics. Landon Ferraro joins us here on Sports 1440. Also, the Canadian men defeat Norway, and they are moving on to the gold medal game in curling. So they're going to take on Great Britain. So there you have it. What do you like? So some right shot defense. When we were talking earlier, there's Colton Parayko, but I'm not sure how he's available. I'm not sure it would work necessarily for the Oilers. But there's also there's Connor Murphy is somebody, right shot D. He's in the last year of his contract, makes 4.4. Chicago can retain half the salary. That's a very, realistic trade option. Now, I think Dallas and other teams are going to be searching for him as well. But where do you come out now? For me, I think right pair defense is number one priority. Do you think that is? Do you think a winger
Greg,
or
sorry to cut you off, but you bringing up Connor Murphy, that's kind of exactly what I'm talking about. A just real meat and potatoes, makes the simple play. Bringing out, even if you could make the Parayko trade, that's not the guy I'm looking for the Oilers. I think a guy that you're not, Parayko's still going to look for offense, and there's going to be some issues out of that as well. Connor Murphy knows what his role is. He's going to be very good on the PK. He's a good professional. He's played a long time in the league and understands to keep it simple, and that there is better players in front of him, and quickly move the puck up to those players. Get it out of your hands as quick as you can and move it up. So a guy like Connor Murphy, I'm a big fan of his. I played with him when I was 7, 8, 9 years old when we were down in Atlanta, and seeing him progress and take on that role in Chicago as that veteran guy and being a staple and being a teacher. He doesn't need to do that in Edmonton, but at the same time, it's another calming force in the dressing room.
Yeah, well, it definitely doesn't hurt. Bigger guy, plays with enough bite, I think, in today's game, right? He's not a thumper by any stretch of the imagination, but he plays with some bite, and he'll get after guys. And I think
he's also someone I feel when he gets to playoff time, almost, and again, this is just because it popped into my head. I'm not comparing him to him, but Scott Stevens later in his career wouldn't hit much in the regular season, and then playoffs would start and he'd start chucking it around a little bit. I could picture Connor Murphy playoff time trying to step up a little bit more and bringing that physicality up a notch.
Yeah. Well, and that makes, we've seen that here. I talked to lots of people. Evan Bouchard in the playoffs is far from a shrinking violet when it comes to the physical side of the game. He's getting in scrums, right? He's more physical, and that's not his game, but he looks very comfortable doing it, right? So I think a guy like Connor Murphy, who obviously isn't as skilled as Bouchard, and is probably a little bit more aggressive, is a guy that could easily do that. So I look at the Oilers and Stan Bowman. We're coming up. It's basically 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks tomorrow from the trade deadline. Basically 15 days from today at this time, we'll be discussing it and breaking it all down and everything like that. And I think for me, right shot, second pair defense, I've moved it to the top of my priority list for the Edmonton Oilers. I think that's just the number one priority. Not easy to get, but that would be my number one priority. Do you see another main one that you would look at ahead or close to it?
Another part on the team, you're saying?
Yeah. Another
to
position.
Address? No, because honestly, as you laid it out before, of course, another forward would be great to add into that mix. But if you're looking at, okay, we only have really one move to bring in someone that actually is going to change the needle and not just bring in two guys to bring in two guys. Really, you're going to make a bigger jump addressing more of your defensive needs than you will up front, I think. So if you focus back on that defensive side, like I said before, you're going to score because, we're talking about Olympics, and yes, Heiskanen's going to play the majority of the time against McDavid. McDavid's still going to get his chances, and chances are he's going to get at least a point, right? So, he's going to find his offense. Draisaitl's the same way. So looking at it that way, I think if you can shore up the back end a little bit more, say you take down your goals against per game just a touch, now it just starts to roll a little bit more in your favor. I think that's definitely the way to go about it, especially with the amount of talk about goaltending and all of it, give as much help in front to try and insulate that. And so if there is a rough patch, maybe between your forward scoring a little bit more up front and your D playing a bit better in front, those shots don't seem as daunting coming in.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And hey, their penalty kill could use a few saves from Tristan Jarry lately.
Yes.
No question about that. Landon, great stuff, buddy. We'll have games to discuss next Thursday. And who are you picking in the semifinals? Who's going to the final?
I mean, I just have to believe it's going to be the U.S. and Canada. Like, it has to be, right? They're not gonna take that away from us. Yesterday, sitting there as Canada was about to lose, you're like, they can't do this to the tournament. And then they come back, and then the U.S. get into it. Like, again, this can't happen. So, no, I do think it's going to be those two. We're lucky that's 2 good games, 4 good teams, and it should be an interesting final come the weekend.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man. Have a great day.
Yeah, you as well.
There you go. That's Landon Ferraro joining us. When we come back, time for a little Thursday on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium 1-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 1-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
At On the Rocks, the party never stops.
Check it out.
Mondays, bingo tune.
Tuesdays, tacos and tequila.
Wednesdays, it's wings and karaoke.
Shake what your mama gave ya with salsa lessons on Thursdays and the best Latin DJs.
Plus, live music every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, along with DJ Kenny K.
Hold on, let's not forget $5 happy hour, 7 days a week.
Your bar, your party. You're On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
Jeff Brab and 118th.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Brick is here to help with deals on your entire bedroom. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on ceiling memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out The Brick in South Common, West Ed Mall, North Side, and downtown.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. And yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account Check them today.
Winter in Alberta doesn't mess around, and neither does Titan Supply. For over 50 years, we've earned the trust of our customers across a variety of industries because we lead with integrity, honesty, and respect. I'm Joe. And I'm Brent from Titan Supply. When the weather hits hard, we're fully stocked with rigging, lifting, and hauling gear that works as hard as you do. Titan Supply, built on trust, driven by safety. Serving Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary. Let us help you face the weather the Titan way. Visit titansupply.ca.
Considering an EV, Subaru is the right choice. Discover their latest electric vehicle innovations, starting with the brand new Solterra, in stock and ready to test drive. Or the Trail Seeker, an EV at its core, a Subaru at heart and built for adventure. Or the Uncharted This Sporty, all-new small compact SUV brings new levels of driving enjoyment to the all-electric space. Right now, Subaru is offering interest rates as low as 0.49%. Welcome to electric. Welcome to Subaru.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
.48, welcome back, Jason Gregor. Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Hope you are having a lovely Thursday. Was a very entertaining game if you missed it, but Canadian women just falling short in overtime, 2-1 to the United States. And that leaves a few games left in the men's hockey tournament. You have 4 games, because tomorrow we'll have both semifinals. Canada taking on Finland at 8:40 our time, and then later on at 1 o'clock, well, actually 1:10 our time, the U.S. will take on Slovakia. The winners will play for the gold on Sunday morning at 6:10 Edmonton time, while the losers will play for the bronze Saturday afternoon our time. So there you have it. Now let's get to Thirsty Thursday, brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor. 2 locations, southeast side on 50th Street, 92nd Avenue, or the original location, St. Albert Trail, 118th Avenue. The best selection if you like wine, cocktails, beer, anything non-alcoholic. They bring it in from all over the world. It's the best selection. Check it out at Sherbrooke Liquor. As David Owens joins us once again. Dave, how you doing, my man? Is he there? I don't know. I'm not sure if he's there or not. So we'll see. Looks like he was there, but the boys will try to figure it out. So we'll just maybe get him on the phone if we have to. We'll figure it out. But we're going to be trying out some. These must be like unique blends that he's got us, because he dropped him off because he's out of town and dropped him off in studio. There's like looks like a lot of maybe different sours or IPAs. So. We'll get Dave Owens connected here in a second. Stan, he says he can't hear anything there, guys. So I don't know what's wrong on his end, but try to figure it out. Meanwhile, we got a lot of text to get to. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys. What about the St. Louis Blues? Well, other than Parayko, I'm not sure there's another D-man on the Blues team that I would look at very quickly and say, hey, this is the guy I want to go grab, right? I don't think that's like, who else on the Blues defense core fits second pair right defense, right? Because that's what you need. You don't need a third pair, and you don't need a first pair. You've got that. You need a second pair right shot defense. Specifically, that's what I'm looking for. And, I just don't see one if it isn't Colton Parayko, right? Like, me personally, I don't have a ton of interest in Justin Falk. So that wouldn't be a guy that I would be looking to grab. I think that Connor Murphy is a very, very good option, and I think he will be available. He's in the final year of his deal. He's 32 years of age, right? Add some size, can move the puck decent. It's competitive, can kill penalties, shoots right. 4.4 cap hit. So if they retain 50%, and so that obviously it's even less than that in taking actual money at the deadline, but it's also what you could make work in the playoffs. He would then be in the playoffs, a $2.2 million cap hit, which is pretty good contract for sure. So he is definitely, he would be right near the top of the list. You look at Vancouver, another team that I think is looking to sell guys. Would Tyler Myers be of interest? Possibly, right? I could see Tyler Myers as a guy who would garner some interest. Got a $3 million cap hit for this year and next year, so not overly expensive. I don't like. Do you have to give up a first for Tyler Myers? I don't. I'm not sold that you would have to on that. So I could be wrong, but we'll see. We'll try Dave once more. If Dave can he hear us now? Is everything good there or no? No. So there you go. Well, just get him on the phone. So there we go. Technology 1, Dave and the fella 0. It's kind of what we're seeing today. So either way, the other teams, because I'm going through teams that are clearly out of it, right? And you look at that, and it's funny enough, there's not a ton of them, right? Like the New Jersey Devils, they got a boatload of defensemen. That's another team. Now, Dougie Hamilton, that's a bigger deal. He's a right shot defenseman, makes $9 million though, right? Like how are you making that work, right? You're going to have to ship out significant amount of money. And I know people are going to take Gregor Nurse. I don't think Darnell Nurse is agreeing to waive his no movement clause to go to New Jersey, right? I don't see it happening. Brett Pesci's got a lot on his contract. Not sold that he would be the guy. Jonathan Kovacevic, that's a guy I'd put on the list. I would definitely have some interest in him for sure. So we'll see. There, Dave, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
There you go. We got it fixed. Everything's rocking and rolling. All right. So
beauty.
We'll see. It's good. Now, what are we doing today?
Okay, Matt. I'm on Vancouver Island right now. So yes. I thought that
these all Vancouver beers.
These are all Vancouver Island beers.
Okay.
So we're kind of going with a Vancouver Island myth and lore edition. So right there, you've got the Tofino Brewing Bohemian style Pilsner. So great Pilsner, soft, bready malt, kind of lemon peel, herbal spice from the Czech Saz hops, and just that rounded bitterness and long, clean finish, right? But the story and the lore behind Bohemia is it's sort of a historic Czech region where Pilsner was born in about 1842 in Pilsen. And so the original pale lager, this, it's like changed the world. So calling this Bohemian style nods to that Czech lineage and the independent sort of artistic spirit that the Bohemian implies, right? So it's perfect fit for that surf town of Tofino.
Dude, it tastes really good. I didn't know that about Pilsner. I just like that little history lesson we just got. That is fantastic. So, and that, it tastes very different than a normal lager.
Yeah, very much so, right? And it's, really great beer. Great on a sunny day. And it's got a little bit more flavor to it, a little bit more character always.
Yeah, I'd be curious how many of our listeners, because I'm going to be honest, when I saw Bohemian style, I had no idea what the hell that was. I didn't actually know that was like a typical style of beer. So it's always good. I like beer. I don't know if I'm the historian of beer, which is why I like doing this segment. So
yeah,
next
that's right.
We have the Naughty Hildegard.
Hildegard, yes. Yeah, this is one of my absolute favorite beers of all time.
And is that a nun? Is that a nun on the can?
Well, yeah, she's a Benedictine abbess. So she was lived from 1098 to 1179, and she wrote one of the earliest records on history about hops preserving beer. So before hops, beer was, flavored with herbal Groot and so on. And so basically it was a herbal tea. And she was the one that decided that hops should be there to preserve and also end up flavoring. So that playful name sort of plays on that, imagines that medieval mystic quietly celebrating those modern hop flavors.
Wow. Okay. So the naughty Hildegard. Ooh.
And it's delicious. So it's toasted malt, caramel backbone, and ESB is a extra special bitter. So it's actually a British pub style beer.
Yes.
But it's got that
good.
Yeah, it's got that Northwest, hop style ESB. So it's a little bit stronger. I think it's 6.5%. But man, it's so packed full of flavor. It's got that extra sort of toasted malt, caramel backbone to it. Mosaic hops, and it gives you that sort of guava, mango, citrus, all balanced bitterness, like super easy drinkability. Love that beer.
Wow. So I'm reading the can, and this is what the can says. It's brewed to honor Hildegard van Bingen, a 12th century Benedictine abbess, composer, and writer who is considered the founder of scientific natural history in Germany. Wow.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. She was quite the thing.
Quite the lady.
She was a big deal. She was a big deal.
She was a big deal. She was a big deal in Germany before Dreisaitl was a big deal in Germany.
That's right. Just barely, right? But
they're close. They're close.
Yeah.
So next we have the Dino Sour Power Key Lime Pie.
That's right. Yeah. So Dino Sour Power, right? So Phillips Brewing, they're in Victoria. So this one's got that bright lime acidity up front, creamy sort of pastry undertone, sweet tart balance. Full-bodied sour, 7% alcohol, so zippy but really structured, right?
It even smells, because I'm doing the proper smell for any of our audience listeners. Just join. You're supposed to open your mouth when you stick your nose in your glass to smell it properly. You get a better flavor.
Exactly.
And it does. It tastes like key lime pie, and I haven't even tasted it.
Yeah, key lime pie, exactly. So the story and lore behind this, so the Dino Sour series, it kind of uses that cartoon dinosaurs as a playful nod to sour beer. So styles, they nearly went extinct before their modern revival most recently and becoming super popular again. So it's that old world fermentation techniques that really meet the new school fruity forward intensity. So Jurassic energy in a can, so to speak, with that the dinos on there. And they have a variety of different flavors that come out in the Dino Sour lineup.
It says key lime pie, and it just because I find the best key lime pie has a little bit of a bitter taste to it. It's not too sweet, and that's exactly what this is. Why, like, honestly, I love key lime pie, but this is like obviously I'm not tasting, but it's like I'm drinking a little bit. It's damn close, man.
Damn close, yeah. Pretty fantastic, tasty beer.
That is
the
very
whole Dino Sour lineup is really great.
I've never even heard of that beer before. So if somebody like key lime pie, like a little sour, I would definitely recommend the Dino Sour Power line. Whew.
Yeah,
nice.
100%.
Now Phillips Malting Brewing, that's on the West Coast.
Yeah, they're in Victoria. Matt Phillips actually, he's kind of cut his teeth in Edmonton actually many years ago, but he came out here, wanted to start a brewery. Nobody would give him a loan, so he applied for a whole bunch of credit cards in the same day. Hoping that if he sent the applications off at the same time, they wouldn't mess with his credit and so on, and he'd get them all, and he did. And then he just funded his brewery through credit cards off the bat, and now they're one of the biggest breweries out here on the West Coast.
Well, not sold. That's the best start of a business plan, but it worked. So
it sure worked for him. Yeah, it was amazing. Wow. So,
hey, whatever gets you off the ground. Okay.
That's right.
Next up, we got another sour.
So this is a Small Gods Brewing. I think we had one of their beers either last week or the week before. It was last week we did that. And this one's their Far Away One Coconut Sour. So this one's got that, tart citrus base, again, like a sour, tropical fruit aromatics, but it's got that creamy coconut impression just from hops alone. So balanced acidity, really refreshing finish to it. So the story and lore here. What's that?
I was going to say it's very light on the sour. Some people don't like sour. Like it says it's a sour, but it's not very sour at all.
It's not intense like some of them. So this one's, Small Gods, they draw inspiration from literary themes and perception, right? So this beer contains no coconut in it, but that tropical character comes entirely from Sabro hops. And it's a sensory sort of illusion. So your brain fills with the destination of flavor, even when that ingredient isn't there. That's kind of a cool play on it.
Okay. That's for a sour. I like it. Like the sour is there, but it's very, very subtle. It's not overpowering. Some of the other sours, like it smacks you in the face. And that, like for me, like when I have a sour candy, I like that it's sour. It's almost supposed to make your eyes like, ooh, right?
Yeah,
But
totally. But sometimes, if people are just trying to get into sours,
yeah,
they're a little bit unsure about it. That's a great way to do it.
Next up, we have the Crash and Daddy, which it comes in like a massive super can, 568 mils, and it's 8%.
Oh yeah, this is a big boy beer. Absolutely a big boy beer. So this is the Thrashin' Caddy Juicy IPA. So ripe orange, peach, juicy tropical, super soft haze driven mouthfeel, a little bit of bitterness and smooth finish, even though it's at 8%.
Yeah, that almost, it just like tastes like a hazy IPA, really.
Yeah, beautiful hazy IPA. Yeah. So the story and lore behind that one is it's named after the Cadborosaurus. This is a Pacific Northwest sea serpent legend tied to the Cadboro Bay near Victoria. So sightings date back to indigenous sort of Coast Salish stories and early 20th century newspaper reports. A regional sort of cryptid, but part folklore, part mystery. And there was even a time where a couple of sightings or carcasses would show up on the shore, and they thought it was one of them, but they turned out to be like basking sharks and things like that. So bit of a famous background to that one.
Okay. And then we end up with Dark Matter.
The Dark Matter. Yeah, exactly. So this is that sort of Maris otter malt richness, subtle sort of chocolate, some light roast, nutty depth, soft bitterness. This is one of Hoyne Brewing's. This is their like flagship beer. The story behind this Dark Matter, in astrophysics, for those people those are astrophysics and their listeners, sort of refers to that unseen material believed to make up roughly about 27% of our universe. So Hoyne plays on that idea, and a beer that appears dark and heavy, but drinks really softer and lighter than expected.
Yes, I was just going to say, because a lot of people get intimidated when they see a dark beer and they're like, it's going to be too heavy. It's going to be too filling. Not at all. It is dark, but man, it tastes almost as light as that first Pilsner I tried.
100%. Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the beauties of that beer. So you get all those flavors, some of those dark malts, but you're not stuck with that heaviness that sometimes follows.
It's a really good array, I would have to say. But the Naughty Hildegard, simply for the history of the beer can, probably would get my win. But if I'm looking just for a fun, the Dinosaur Key Lime Pie, you got to try it, people.
You got to try it.
You have to try it. I like them all, actually. None of these, because we always try to be honest in the ones like, me on the coffee flavor ones. Yeah. They're a little freaky, but the coconut sour, sometimes sour beers are too much. That one is very subtle sour is how I would call it. So
yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's a fun little lineup. And most of these breweries generally have good mix packs as well. So if you try one, you like it, you can come back, buy one of their mix packs and try some of their other brands out there. So I know that Driftwood definitely has one. There's usually a Dino Sour mix pack that shows up in the summertime. And then I believe that Hoyne sometimes has a good mixed pack of stuff there. Vancouver Island Brewing does definitely too. So, great way to try some a few singles and share with some people. And
now, do you got any gold medal specials potentially for Saturday night to be ready for Sunday morning?
Oh, gold medal specials, right? Yeah, Saturday night. You know what? Yeah, let's do it right now. Let's go. I'm gonna scare everybody at the store right now. So come in wearing Canada gear. I don't care if it's the soccer stuff or anything else, Canadian gear, and we'll give you an extra 10% off on the night before the game. It's on Saturday.
Okay, I like that on Saturday. So perfect. Because hey, you know what? There's lots of people. A gold medal game, man. It's going to be wild. I'm sure you, like most Canadians, were on the edge of your seat yesterday. A little nerve wracking.
Oh man, it was crazy, absolutely crazy. Sitting there and watching that, and then of course I was driving. I was out, took my daughter on a great road trip out here, and I was driving her back to the airport to fly home, and walked into a restaurant, and there the U.S. were stuck in overtime all of a sudden too. I was like, what the heck's going on here today?
Oh, three games in a row, man, and then
three
today
games in overtime.
The women went to overtime today too, and USA had tied the game with 2:10 to go, and then unfortunately for Canada, USA was able to win in OT.
Yeah.
So, hey, the last few days, if you like entertaining and like a little overtime, you could not say you haven't been entertained the last few days.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you, man, some of the other sports too, like watching some of the speed skating right now, and some of the skiing, stuff has been, insane. So.
Oh, I love it all, man. Yeah, we got tomorrow's the big day for my ski cross. I can't wait. So,
oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm stoked about that too.
Awesome. Okay, Dave, thanks, man. We'll chat with you next Thursday.
Yeah, right on. Thanks, man. We'll see you then. Cheers.
There you go. That's, Dave Owens from Sherbrooke Liquor. So remember, on Saturday, you want to go in wear your Team Canada gear, you get an additional 10% off, and they have a wide array. If you want to try different things, you definitely should. But man, this Pilsner, the Tofino one, the Bohemian style, oh God, that was good. Really good. Let's get to the con, man. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments. No interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
In case you missed it, Team USA won gold in women's hockey. Megan Keller, winner in overtime, getting the U.S. past Canada 2-1. Earlier on in the day, it was the Swiss over Sweden 2-1 in overtime as well. In curling, Canada's Rachel Homan beat South Korea to clinch a semifinal berth with her 5th straight win. They'll take on Sweden on Friday in the semifinal. The other semifinal will have the United States taking on Switzerland. On the men's side, Canada will go for gold on Saturday, taking on Great Britain. The NBA returning from their all-star break. Toronto Raptors taking on the Bulls. Tip-off 6 o'clock. You've also got the Rockets and the Hornets. Cavs host the Nets. Pacers in Washington. Knicks up against the Pistons. Celtics travel to the Bay, taking on the Warriors. Magic in Sacramento, and the Clippers hosting the Nuggets. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by our co-host, former NHLer Terry Ryan, also Kevin Woodley, and we'll speed things up in the Cantor Racing Report with Colin Livingston. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Yes, it's Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already. Yeah, we're working in your basement, doing a replacement. The work is so earnestly building your legacy. With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy.
The Olympics, the heartache.
Cooling.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also
welcome back, Jason.
Impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
You know what would be even better than winning gold?
Okay, I'll bite.
Winning a gold medal made of Wilhock beef jerky.
Athletes do get hungry, and they could use a snack on the podium. I think I'll start a petition.
Really?
No. Now,
yeah, right on. Thanks, man.
Turn up the games.
For a truly Canadian snack to cheer on our truly Canadian athletes, you need Wilhock beef jerky, made with Alberta pride right here in Leduc.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business, and for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Are you looking for safe and professional transportation solutions for your group events and sports teams? Look no further than Silent Rides, Alberta's premier charter bus company. Whether your group is big or small, Silent Rides has you covered. We offer state-of-the-art motor coaches, first-class service, and affordable rates. Get your quote today. For more information and to request a quote, contact sales at 877-748-0991 or visit silentrides.ca.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. We treat pain and injuries head to toe and some other issues that might surprise you, like incontinence, vertigo, neuropathy, and cognitive issues. We invest in the technology, techniques, skills, and people that know how and what to fix. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It's after 3 o'clock. Welcome back to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. It's the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where the Daily Grand, your chance to get in, win $1,000 a day for the next 20 years. Play the Daily Grand at PlayAlberta.ca. Also, while you're there, we got NBA is back tonight, so you can check out some action there. Also, we got, of course, little Canada-Finland action for you. See what's going on. Is the first period going to be the high-scoring period? Do you think it's going to be a low-scoring game again? All of a sudden, as we've gotten later on here, there's like lower-scoring games for sure in hockey. And you know what? Can a 2-1 game be exciting? Yes. Can a 3-2 game be a little bit more exciting? Usually. Can a 4-3 game? Yeah, just because usually it's a little bit more ride the wave of emotion. You're cheering, and then you're devastated because they scored, and you're cheering. Just anytime there's a few more goals in a game, it just adds to it. It just does. Potential lead changes, everything else. It's great. So the trend is it's probably going to be lower scoring. If you look at it historically in the Olympics, there's not a ton of high-scoring games. Like, God, we all wish, if you were around, for the Canada Cup, 6-5, 6-5, 6-5. Those games were unreal. And speaking of that, I look at the Olympics and, it's a one game and I love it. Hey, guess what? Like every other sport, when it gets to a gold medal race, you got to be ready. You got one chance. So in a gold medal game, being a one-off, I don't mind. But I'll say this, for the World Cup of Hockey, I would like, when they bring it back in 2028, I think a final best of 3 would be genius. We've seen it before, 87. You saw it, a lot of the other years, right? I would have that. I think it would add to it even more. Imagine. And it might, best of 3 in 87 was Canada-Russia. It was fantastic. Right? You can have best of 3. Maybe it's going to be, Canada-Sweden. Maybe it's going to be Canada-USA. Maybe it's going to be not Canada. Whatever. I would consider it strongly to have a best of 3 in that. Let's get to Terry Ryan, who joins us now. TR, how you doing, Matt?
Oh, not bad. The weather, it's still snowing since the last time I spoke to you. So I'm in a parking lot right now. My daughter got called up to the under-18 soccer team. She's 15, so we're here. Well, she's 16 next month. But anyway, I didn't expect any of this, so I'm doing it from the car. Apologies.
But it's all good. How much snow do you get? Like a foot?
Oh, man, a foot? I wouldn't know, man. It was up over my Jeep. I'd love to, I guess I'll Google it after that. I really don't know. It's just been like Snowmageddon we had a few years ago. It's not far off. It's just been constant. I don't know. Snow below the driveway like 8 times. The snow was up over the car again today. I don't know, man. I'm thinking like 50 centimeters plus.
Oh, wow. Okay. So a big one. Man, it was a crazy day of hockey yesterday, TR. Overtime in the last 3 games. Canada and Finland both come back late to tie it, and as did the U.S. Sweden, but Sweden unable to finish the comeback, but Canada and Finland do. And now we've got Canada and the Finns, and you got USA and Slovakia. And man, what we saw from the Canadian women today, like, it just, something tells me we might see some more overtime tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting, to say the least. But, you know, it's whatever you're programmed. We're traditionalists in hockey, and I still am all about, you know, the 5-on-5 and overtime. And I really do believe that the Stanley Cup playoffs, in the end, not many teams get lucky and find their way through. Like, and I love that. It's 5-on-5 as long as you can go. But there is something to be said. There is something to be said about 3-on-3 and the level of anticipation and excitement. Anything can happen. Usually the team with the most skilled team players wins, but not always. And it can be about a lucky break. You know, the thing is, if you're a hockey traditionalist, things happen that wouldn't happen in a normal hockey game. People get wide open, and, you know, people take chances, and that's just the nature of it. But knowing what I know about the Olympics, it's funny the way your brain's programmed, because I haven't complained about that yet. It's been, I think, electric, and it's not built those athletes in such a short time to be going, you know, 5-man overtime. So I get it. It's to each their own, and it's a different pursuit, a different manner of pursuit, but it's been nothing but electric in my eyes.
Terry Ryan joins us. Oh, the games have been outstanding, man. Like, they've been very entertaining. They're fast paced, and, you know, it's end-to-end action. You know, low scoring though, lately anyway, excluding the Slovakia game. And I just want, you know what, I'd like a little bit more offense. Goal changes, excitement, lead changes. It just adds to it a little bit more. Not that a 2-1 game is horrible by any stretch of the imagination, but I like a little bit more offense. And speaking of that, TR, I've been pushing a lot for the Oilers, because I want to go to the Oilers for a little bit here, because we went down to practice again today, and I was watching their lines, and I went back and I looked through all the shift chart of their last game when Nugent Hopkins played at the third line center, because I've been pumping the third line center. I think Nuge should play there. But then when I saw it in action, I'm not sure it's going to work long term, because he's your third line center, but he's on your first unit power play, and he's one of your regular penalty killers. So he's on the PP, he's on the power play, as he should be. But then for him to be a regular on your third line with his line mates, it's going to be really hard, because that means that the line's almost going to play as much as McDavid, and that just doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to change my mind, and plus this is based on how leaky they are defensively. I think the Oilers' number one priority between now and we're talking 2 weeks of the trade deadline should be a second pair right defenseman. Agree or disagree?
What was the last thing you said? What they need after the deadline? Did you say a second pair right D?
Yeah, that's what I would say is their biggest need between now and the deadline.
Yeah, well, and first of all, going back to Nugent Hopkins, what's happened before in this situation? When you mentioned the ice time and everything, I mean, he's done it before.
Yeah, but he's never, he hasn't had a long stretch of playing 3C, right? Like, it just,
yeah.
And so as I was watching, I'm like, well, there's obviously a reason why now. And I looked at the shift chart. I'm like, so I'm trying to, okay, well, you know, you get 2 penalties in a game, you get 2 power plays in a game, you're rotating your lines. That third line would always be disrupted. So it would kind of be a third line, but it wouldn't really be a third line, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, your eyes on, I guess that would be, in my head, just thinking the way the lines play out, that didn't really jump to mind. But what you're saying, I can see your point. And as far as, that second unit D, I mean, that's easier said than done, though, man. A lot of teams are looking for that and have been looking for that. That's why, man, I'd always really be wary of those kind of guys when it came to the draft, because it seems to me every year at the trade deadline, people want two-way hockey players with grit and shot D. It's been the trend, and maybe goalies, but that's been the trend for about 5 or 6 years.
Oh yeah, no, hey, I'm not saying it's easy, man, but guess what? Like, it's not easy winning either. So, you know, here's some names. Now, Colton Parayko would be ideal, but I'm not sure the Blues will move him, and making the cap work's going to be tough. Same with Uyghur in Calgary, right? I've heard his name, but I'm not sure that the Oilers can make it work. But then I looked at some other guys. Connor Murphy, Rasmus Ristolainen, Jamie Alexiak. Now, that one's probably rare because he's in the own division. Jonathan Kovacevic in New Jersey. A little bit longer term, but, it's lower at cap hit of AAV and, at 4, just over 4. And they got a boatload of defense in there. So maybe they'd be interested. Zach Whitecloud in Calgary, there was talk even when they acquired him that they'd consider moving him. So I have lots of time for Zach Whitecloud. Artem Zub in Ottawa is probably a little bit of a pipe dream. Low Tide forced me to put him in because he's a big fan of him. And hey, I agree, he's good. I'm just not sold that Ottawa would do it. So we'll see. But those are just some names. Any of you like?
Yeah, I like Whitecloud the most of all of it. I find him reliable. He's not flashy, but I think he could slot there pretty well. And I think he would complement. He complements good players. He makes good breakout passes. I just think there's a lot underrated about him, and I think he could really, really help a team. The Oilers, it would be almost a perfect fit, I think.
Yeah, you know what? And hey, lower cap hit, and like
sorry, I should have mentioned that.
And I know that like Calgary, yes, it's Calgary and Edmonton, but the Flames are like they're not winning next year. They're not suddenly they're in a position to rebuild. So and it's not like Zach Whitecloud is a guy who's entrenched in Calgary that's been there forever, that Flame fans adore, and they're all of a sudden, he's going to the biggest rival. So, we say the Islanders and the Rangers just made a trade. So all I'm saying is, could Calgary and Edmonton do it? Yes. Do I think it's likely? Not overly high, but he's at least an option. So there are some teams out there, like Alexiak, I think is a tough one too. He's a left shot, but he does play both sides, so he's not ideal. The more I look at the orders, I think if I could move Wallman, and I know, you could play Wallman on the right side. He's done it. But if I could move Wallman and he's my number 5 and he's really good number 5, and he can still mix in on different pairings, I like that a little bit better.
Yeah, John Cooper had an interview earlier this year about why he likes to go right, left, right, left, right, left. And even as a player, I didn't really think about it. The smoothness, the transition, it's a fraction of a second, but I don't care how good you are. It's much easier to have right, left in most situations. Not all. Some people thrive on it, but in most, when you're talking about D. And that really convinced me. And wait, where was I going with? As far as Edmonton, Calgary, you look at every, arch rival, if you want to say that. And when it's such a broad spectrum, I think things are different. It's different. It's not like they're both going to be in the playoffs even. One is contending for the Stanley Cup. The other is selling its assets. I think you could go back in the annals of hockey. Quebec, Montreal, Tampa, Florida, although it's been foggy lately because they're both always good. But there has to be more examples, and it would make total sense. They're just down the road. You can have the most scouts. You can have the most eyes on them. If I'm a fan, I don't care. I just saying, hey, just do what's best for us in the future. And if it helps Edmonton now, great. If it's going to help us in the future, or the other thing, if it's a free agent or something close, it can go the other way around as it did with Milan Lucic. It's just more frequent than you think.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Quick break. We'll return. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. So did he only want to do one segment? Oh, well, he said I didn't expect this. So did he mean he didn't expect to come on the show, or he didn't expect to be doing it? Oh, with her being called up. Oh.
So it sounds like it was an extra hour she had to stick around for. You might need a segment to transition.
Who's going to the combine? So what are you saying? I don't get it.
For the combine, typically for like draft eligible players, he's already gone through the process.
Yeah, I didn't get drafted though. So isn't he draft eligible again?
Well, he would be an undrafted free agent.
Was he hurt?
No, he went to camp at the Packers. Then he worked out for like 5 teams. And he's under contract in the U.S. So teams can select free agents. So they teams want to see him there. Okay. It's kind of he's in the check. Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Declan Kruger with you, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Of course, Terry Ryan. Also along for your ride home on Thursday afternoon. Of course, tomorrow we have semifinal action in hockey. Canada, Finland, Slovakia, USA. The winners will meet in the gold medal on Sunday. The losers will play in the bronze medal game on Saturday, afternoon, our time around, 1 o'clock, I think, on Saturday. So, there you have it, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 is where you can text us. Time now to get to In the Room, brought to you by Action Electrical, most diversified electrical contractor in the province, 53 years with services in, and of course, solar, as well as underground project division, the service division, and the testing division, actionelectrical.net. And Kevin Woodley is going to join us right now. Perfect timing, of course, the day before the Olympics. We're going to talk a little bit about UC Saros and more. Kevin, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Jason. I'm doing good. Although if I could pass along one word of advice, and this is very much a first world problem advice for your listeners. If you've got an iPhone and they tell you it's water resistant, don't believe that. If you're going to test the theories of water resistance with your iPhone, make sure you are not on a remote island in the South Pacific where the idea of an Apple phone or an Apple store or anything related to this is basically inaccessible. Thirdly, if you have a Canadian cell phone carrier, ask them to have an eSIM in your phone, because there's no such thing as a physical SIM in the United States. And once you're stuck down here and your physical SIM can't be put into a new phone, they don't want to activate it from here. So let's just say that I'm on a break, but 3 days of my break have been spent trying to rectify that problem, buddy. So ultimate in first world problems.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm visiting my child who is going to school down in Hawaii. So I fully understand there's zero sympathy that people will have for me right now, but it's been a deal. It's been a deal, my friend.
So the iPhone in the ocean doesn't work, is what you're telling us.
No, not even for a 2-second dip. It's not like I went scuba diving with it. Like it was.
I never understood that when they say waterproof. I'm like, how? How is it? I don't get that. But I never.
15 seconds in and out, and I might as well throw it into the bloody volcano that I saw erupt 3 days ago. So the good news is I got to see that, and it was the most remarkable thing I've ever seen in my life, 1,300 feet of lava shooting up. The other good news is that I had not yet run into my incident with my phone. Otherwise, I might have been tempted to jump into said volcano.
Nice.
But, buddy, it's been a few days.
I betcha. Now, let's get to, of course, Canada. We'll get to the Olympics and the goaltending so far. First of all, a lot of people I see, like, many people saying, geez, I would go with Thompson because, well, Binnington makes the big saves late in the game. They felt like he let in some soft ones earlier. I'm not sure I saw that. Where do you come out on Binnington's play?
Okay, so there was a soft goal, and by soft, I'm going to, we'd qualify it as a low percentage goal.
Okay.
That was the second one against France, the 10-2 game, right?
Yes.
Keep in mind, Jason, it's 3 a.m. when many of these games are on here, so I'm watching a little bleary-eyed. If I get the order wrong, correct me. That was just the second low percentage goal that Jordan Binnington has given up since December 2nd. For all the consternation, and it is just and reasonable to have concern for a guy with an .864 save percentage. The one thing he did this season, and especially over the past 2 months leading into this, is he didn't give up the bad goals. And I don't have charting for the Olympics right now, but I wouldn't qualify what I've seen other than the France goal based on my understanding of how ClearSight would measure these things as low percentage goals. So that's the one thing he's done. Now he's gotten killed on high danger stuff in St. Louis this year. Rebounds, which are in part on the goaltender. That's not just about your environment. You automatically are creating those. That's an area where he's been well below expected this year. And I think we've seen some of those in this tournament. You see the level of aggression at times, positionally. That's been a part of why he gets killed by broken plays, why he gets killed by slot line passes, because he's so far out of his net, top of the crease, vertically, side to side. A play comes down the wall. He squares up on it. He's got no coverage in the net. You saw that on the first goal the other day, right? Where he's basically, that's a tough play. You got to stay with the guy coming wide. He funnels it back to the middle. But for a lot of guys, you'd like to see something inside the net there. He's so committed on the shooter. Now, the way Canada defends, it almost fits there. It doesn't work in St. Louis. It's not working. There is no way that I can pretend that he's been good. But the way Canada defends, I think your game plan here is that, hey, as long as he doesn't give up the bad ones like he did against France, we're fine. We'll live with this guy, and we'll take the moments like a breakaway with 1.5 minutes left, where basically Netchus is the one that chokes in that moment, if we want to use that term. He doesn't execute a great move, and Binnington's aggressive enough and in position enough to handle what is essentially just a deke to the backhand, which is that's everybody's first move on a breakaway. You see him in overtime. That aggression that makes him susceptible to a lot of broken plays and backdoor tap-ins. And, hey, on broken plays, it's also about your defense boxing out and clearing out around you. He's obviously getting more support for that in Canada than he is with St. Louis. But he's out so far on that initial chance. Is there a chance that another team's going to start to pick that apart? Is there a chance that the Americans, if it were to be them, because I don't know that the Finns have the skill the way they're playing to do it, but if you get to the gold medal game against the Americans, that they can up the pace to the point where he cannot keep up from his aggression? Because that's what I see when I look at his film in St. Louis, and I looked at a lot of it, is a goaltender who is not constantly, that's not fair, who is consistently behind on plays and getting exposed because of it. Nobody's really created that level of exposure at this tournament. There's been a few moments here and there. Nobody's created it consistently, in part because you're playing against Canada and everything that they do as a unit defensively. And the other part that I will go to in the Thompson, because I'll have the Thompson Binnington debate. Thompson's been the better goaltender. And if you were to run into a team that starts moving the puck east-west on you, I'm taking his shorter depth every time. He's not going to get caught behind on those plays. But they haven't run into it yet. And if they can limit it against the Americans, assuming that's what they get in a gold medal game, and limit it tomorrow against the Finns, then Binnington does one other thing, Jason, that Thompson doesn't. And we saw it in the first game of the whole tournament. That is, he changes other teams' forechecks with the way he gets out and handles pucks. Now, it only works if the other team dumps it in ways he can control it. And I thought Czechia did an exceptional job of recognizing why they got killed with it in the first game and not giving him the opportunity in the second. I would assume the Americans are going to have gone to school in the same lesson. Again, I'm making presumptions here. Let's say the Finns too in the semifinal. It's something that can be negated, right? Like if that's the one reason you're starting him, that makes me a little nervous too, because another team, if they're effective with their dump-ins, and this has been a dump and chase tournament for all the talk of skill, short of neutral zone, man, we are seeing a lot of dump and retrieve. That's something that Jordan Binnington does very well. Not just better than the other guys on the Canadian bench, but almost better than anyone else in this tournament. Although Dostal was really good with it the other day as well, I thought.
TR?
Yeah, what can you tell us about Slovakia? I mean, they're kind of coming in under the radar. They've been playing the whole tournament, but I haven't heard much on them, and now they've made their way into the semi.
Well, first off, Terry, it's a real pleasure to talk to you. I was at the Shoresy event in Vancouver, brought some gear out for Eddie Lack to wear, and I thought you guys did an amazing event. Listen, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie and pretend I know a lot about their goaltender. I've watched him at this tournament. I would have needed a directory of the Iowa Wild to find him before it. I know who he is. I know of him, but I don't know his game intimately. Unlike the NHL starters, where I looked at every goal they gave up and did pre-scout stuff, I did not for him. And I don't have access to that video thanks to our friends with the IOC and the way they protect it. So I don't have a great book on him. Just surface level watching with my eyes the games that he's played that have been on TV down here. There's a level of aggression there in terms that he's a big body. He gets hit a lot. You need to move him east-west. Obviously, anytime you get into national team games, that's what the system's trying to eliminate. But if you can create dynamic plays around him, he looks like a goaltender to me who, even if he, because of his size, can sort of get there a little bit and give himself a chance to get hit, he doesn't do so with a ton of control. Like, he's not going to make reactive saves as often if you get him moving around. He has been caught in this tournament outside of his, what we would call his lanes or his lines. So go to look at each post and draw a line straight up the ice from each post. He gets caught east-west outside of that. He gets caught at the top of his crease. So as much as you want to play a skill game on him, when you have such a good defense and you've got Cale Makar back there with an incredible sifter, I'd be looking to try and create some havoc, try and get bodies in front of the net. Tic-tac-toe works, especially if you can get down low in the zone below the dots and get him outside of his post, like I said, and then go east-west. But sometimes with guys like him, you're almost, the prettier you try and play, as much as Canada has the skill to actually execute at a level that very few do, the prettier you try and play, the more you actually give a goalie like that a chance to really read what's coming and make some anticipation moves. And because of his aggression and size, he'll have a chance to play a little bit of hit me and have success, unless you finish all those chances with like top corner type stuff. The better play is to sort of take advantage of his tendencies to be over aggressive and outside his post and funnel pucks from angles, from areas, and make sure you win battle in front and around the net against a team that's not going to have the physical size to sort of knock you away from those areas like you might run into. That's a plan that would work against the Americans as well. As good as they are in defense, size is not, the number one asset.
Quinn Hughes has been dangling. Speaking of Vancouver, now, obviously the trade happened a few months ago, and at the time, I guess you could say there was a sense of panic. A lot of people were upset. But now looking at this, the rearview mirror, you got Rossi, Bume, I think it's how you pronounce it, Ogren, all doing well with Vancouver, and you got a first-rounder thrown in. How do people look back at that now? Are people starting to accept that trade and the fact that you guys did get, or Vancouver did get, a decent deal out of that?
I think, Terry, both things can be true. You can watch Quinn Hughes doing what he's doing at the Olympics, like you said, just absolutely flying out there. And you can end up looking out into space like you've seen ghosts, much the way Quinn does for a lot of the games, right? As a Vancouver fan, it's just like, oh man, like the thing I would equate it to, as somebody who covered every one of his games in Vancouver, it reminded me of covering the Sedin twins. They did things we hadn't seen before, and Quinn did that on a nightly basis. And as a fan, it's kind of hard to watch that walk away. And at the same time, even if you fairly recognize that Rutherford did fairly well, Jim Rutherford did fairly well in terms of getting a good return for a player that, and this is where the acceptance parts comes in, was not going to return anyways. You can hammer the organization for not doing more while he was here so that he would want to stay, and that's fair. But in terms of the return they got, I think they did very well in the situation they were cast. And so you can maybe not celebrate it, but you can recognize they did well by it, while at the same time admitting, man, it's really hard to watch him play elsewhere and realize, that was us as fans of Vancouver for so long, right? It's hard. Like this was the line that got thrown around in Vancouver while he was here. And it was true. When he was on the ice, they were a competitive team, almost playoff level. And for a while, got in the playoffs, but it wasn't just within each game. It was the team with Quinn Hughes on the ice, competitive potential playoff team. The team with Quinn Hughes not on the ice, on the bench, was replacement level, bottom of the league. The underlying numbers said that they would be a draft lottery team. And so even with those good young players coming in, the fact you have to wait for them to sort of mature, losing Quinn has put them back at a level where they have a chance to win the lottery. So all those projections when he was here, it's like, man, they're like two different teams with and without him off the ice, has kind of proven to be true now that he's no longer in the organization.
Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine, NHL.com joins. Kevin, switching over to the Slovakia-US, and I know the Slovakia goaltender has been obviously a major surprise. It's kind of like the number 4 goalie in the Minnesota organization right now. And hey, it's a great tournament. We'll see, because his AHL numbers weren't great, but who knows? Maybe he's a guy who just translates better to when the game's more predictable. What have you made of Hellebuck? And if you're Slovakia, how are you attacking him?
I mean, I think I've liked Connor's game. 2 things. One, he's not going to get out and handle pucks. So in a tournament where we have seen a lot more dump and chase, that might be an area where, again, easier said than done. That defense typically can get out of their own end, led by Hughes and Werenski. I mean, there's just so much talent back there. But if you can get in on them and make them pay a price, maybe you can establish a forecheck, because Hellebuck's not going to get out and stop it and allow them to wheel back onto it, right? That's what Binnington does. Gets out, even if he doesn't make a play, just a leave behind the net that your defenseman can wheel onto with speed rather than having to pick up puck off the wall with a forecheck bearing down on him. So that's one thing on Hellebuck. The rest, honestly, Jason, the book was written in the playoffs. I don't think it's changed. I looked at every goal he's given up this season, and a lot of the tendencies are the same. This is a guy who reads the game and anticipates the game at a Dominik Hasek-like level. Doesn't play it like Hasek, but he reads the game like Hasek. And what's the best way to take that away from him? That's to create chaos. That is bodies, that is funneling pucks into lanes with multiple layers of traffic. And then again, something that I think is doable against the American defense, as skilled as they are. But if you can win battles for second chances in and around his net, that's where there's exposure. Once you get him, he's as patient as any goalie in the NHL on his skates. And he actually moves a lot better than people give him credit for on his skates. But once you get him to his knees, and you do that by taking away his eyes, it's a different game. If you can win some of those battles, you can score goals. It's what's happened in each of the past several playoffs. It's one of the things we're seeing in this regular season as the Jets' defensive play erodes. And it's something we haven't yet seen any team be able to do against the Americans at this tournament. But it doesn't change. It's the same formula. It's just a matter of, can you get to it when everything in front of him is better than it has been in Winnipeg this year.
Kev, great stuff, buddy. Who are you picking in the semis?
Well, I mean, I don't think I have a choice. I think we'll go with the although, boy, I'm a little worried about how good UC Saros has become as this tournament has gone on after a tough first start. But I think everybody wanted to see a rematch of the Four Nations in the gold medal game, and who am I to pick against it?
So quickly, let me end. I lied on Saros. If you're
That's
Canada,
all right.
what's the best way to attack UC Saros tomorrow?
Again, when you've got such a skilled team, the temptation is to use that skill to create the types of plays we all love to see, the east-west passes, the dynamic stuff off the rush, and obviously go for it if you can. But if you can't, then taking away his eyes, which is his numbers on screens are way down. He is not a big goalie. Seeing around bodies forces him to pick sides. You've got guys at the top of the ice that can sort of see him getting caught on a short side screen, manipulate his eyes, force him to move around behind it and find lanes. The other way, attack low below the bottom of the circles. That's the one challenge at his size. He mostly plays inside his net on dead angles. He'll use a traditional reverse. And we saw McDavid, we saw the guys try and sort of pick that spot in past games. You only need 2 inches over the shoulder, by the side of the head, by the ear, under the crossbar on those dead angles. Once a guy drops into reverse, with Saros, you might have 3 or 4 inches. And so making him think about having to keep that short side seal and push up into that short side seal with a couple early looks from dead angles will open up the opportunity to funnel what we call low slot line plays through the middle of the ice from those low angles. I would attack him from deep in the zone. I think that's where you limit his size. The other thing is low. If you don't see it there, keep moving. Move behind the net. Look for pop passes out from behind the net. He is at his best when he gets to the top of his crease and holds his edges. Anytime you force a goaltender to sort of look behind them and lose track of what's in front of them by working from below the goal line, it changes his vision, but it also makes it harder for him to get up to the top of the crease fast enough on a one-timer off a pop pass. So, yeah, it sounds silly to be telling Canada, with all the skill that they have, that trying to attack from dead angles and below the net is the way to go, and traffic and all that stuff. But I think we've seen it in best on best before. Like, it's not always the pretty that wins these things, and you've got to have a plan B. And if I was building a plan B, it would start with those 2 areas of attack on UC Saros.
All right. Great stuff, Kev, as always, buddy. We appreciate it. Good luck with your phone, and we'll chat with you next week.
Like I said, the good news is the volcano stopped erupting. I've got nothing to jump into here.
There you go. It's Kevin Woodley. Don't take your phone in the ocean. Like, that's one thing, man. TR, you've never gone swimming with your phone, have you?
No, I got a new one now because I dropped it in a toilet in the summer, and I lost half my contacts too.
Oh yeah.
But I was gonna say everything. It's the same thing. I have a watch, waterproof. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm always skeptical about that one. We'll come back and speed things up on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The future of female hockey is here. It's season 2 of the Female Super League, the first ever female-only independent hockey division in Western Canada, with teams from British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Featuring 16U, 14U, and 12U divisions, the FSL brings showcase weekends packed with thrilling games, and our 14U and 16U have been pioneering the advanced body-checking rule, empowering young players. The Female Super League, where the best in female hockey takes center ice. Details at femalesuperleague.com.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Free trips, free iPads, a barbecue, a wood stove, the #1 dealer in the world. What? Who cares? How about no pressure, a great deal, finance rates as low as 0%, trade values you can be happy with, and an indoor showroom. And we're pretty good people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
Looking for the perfect gift? Give the gift of great taste with a Loca Quality Market gift card. Redeemable at any Loca Quality Market or Loca operated restaurant. It's a treat for food lovers. Ready anytime. Grab yours today at loca.ca.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
There's a lot of great seasons in Alberta. Hockey season, harvest season, the winter season, and the even more winter season. But GS Construction is already preparing for our next great season, because while the city slows down, we plan ahead. Projects, people, and pipelines. Everything starts taking shape for another strong year underground. We're also getting ready for our next hiring season in March. We want new people who want to build something that lasts. For more on us and to apply, visit gsconstruction.ca. Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpot's Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Portions of this hour brought to you by EUL. Get your power play amped up with EUL, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. EUL.ca is your partner in power.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by playalberta.ca.
.353, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Howling, Terry Ryan with you, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. I hope you're having a lovely Thursday. Cold weather's here for a few more days, but it's supposed to heat up my Monday, Tuesday. So stay warm, keep your lights on, try to avoid any fender benders. Worst time when it's cold out, way more damage. Let's get to the racing report now, brought to you by Can Torque, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantorque.com. As Colin Livingston joins us once again. CL, how you doing?
And it's definitely extreme out there right now.
Yeah,
and
it's a little chilly.
It's definitely not theoretical.
No, it is not. It is definitely chilly. Now, I know TR was talking about earlier in the week, he was making the comparison and short track speed skating, just how hard it is to pass.
Yep.
And I know you kind of wanted to chat with him about that because it's similar in certain racing, definitely on certain courses.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I don't listen to the show every day, see every episode, but I was watching on Tuesday. So it definitely caught my attention when TR was talking about the passing and kind of compared it to.
By the way, don't let work get in the way of listening to the show. Okay. Just saying.
Well, unlike some of us, Gregor, I don't spend my whole day at a desk. So once in a while, I actually have to leave the office and get out in the shop. But yeah, I mean, that was a great point that Terry brought up. And, it's exactly the same as in racing, because, like when we get on a short track, like we have here at Wetaskiwin, it's a 1/4 mile oval. Like it's really, Wetaskiwin doesn't have a discernible straightaway. There's no point when you're driving that track that the steering wheel actually gets straight. You turn more in the corner and you kind of turn less on the straightaway. You drive all the way up to the wall and then you start coming down. But the only way to pass really is if somebody makes a big mistake, but the accepted convention is that you'll give the driver in front, if you know you're a lot quicker, you kind of give them a tap and let them respond. You give them a tap. And if by the third time you give them a tap, then you start to hit or you dive to the inside and you kind of have to get a little bit more aggressive. But I actually watched that short track event was on when I was in the gym, and it was about the only way that I would be watching anyway. I'll again be honest, but as I was on the leg press, the TV's right in front of me. So I had to watch, and I'm like, oh, this guy's got to run on the inside, talking like I was relaying it like it was racing, and then they kind of made contact and turned into chaos. So.
Well, yeah, when you make contact in short track, sometimes it is a quick wipeout, and man, that's a good thing they're not hockey boards. They got a little bit more give there. Yeah. Otherwise, there would be a lot of injuries because they are flat out flying.
That same event, the Chinese skater went. If they didn't have the padding, he was going to end up in the seventh row.
Yeah, no, they're flying into those boards for sure. Now, F1 is getting closer to the season starting, and it's interesting. I know Max has been pretty outspoken about what's going on here. There's 50% of the power comes from the engine, but 50% comes from the battery. And if you drive flat out, which is what you should do in racing, is that then you'll deplete the battery before the end of the lap. And so drivers have to be coasting through corners to recharge. So it's like each lap's going to be a little bit slower because of this. So why would they do they think this is to make it more competitive? But in hindsight, wouldn't it make it a little less boring? Because now guys are just going to, I can't really go full out because I got to save the battery. Like, how is this a good idea?
So why are they doing it like this? I'm only going to give my opinion. The series obviously has to cater to its manufacturing partners like Mercedes, Ferrari, Audi, et cetera. And they seem to think that they have to mimic what's happening in the road course world, which is, there's a drive to go to electric cars, there's, hybrid cars and all the rest of it. The problem is that these are not decisions based on racing. They're based on perception. So, F1 made a commitment. They call it, net zero 2030, that they're hoping to have the entire sport be carbon neutral in the next few years. And this was a step in that direction. However, it's going to make the racing really, really different. Like even Fernando Alonso said, they used to go through one of the corners at 260 kilometers an hour. The car will do it, but the engine and the battery, the whole energy source, the store won't allow you to do that and still have power for the straightaway. And he said, we're going through this corner now at 200 kilometers an hour. He's like, I could put our chef in the car and they can drive through the corner at 200 kilometers an hour because there's so much downforce to the car. It's just going to make things different. And they spent a lot of time talking during today's testing broadcast about how hard passing is going to be. Obviously passing has been the topic for almost as long as I've had my interest in the sport. And it's going to be even weirder now because there's no more DRS, like the error reduction system where they can drop the wing and the wings. That's available every lap. You don't have to be within a distance of a car like you used to. There is a push overtake that's going to deploy extra battery power. It's changed everything, and obviously everything's new and the teams are going to figure a lot of this stuff out. But the killer with all this is that the FIA they set up these regulations years ago. Teams started building towards these regulations. And then as we're getting close to the system, and some of the teams have really figured out these neat tricks. Mm-hmm. The other teams that didn't figure out the tricks are they're putting their hand up in the air and saying, well, this isn't fair. We need to change the rules.
Yeah, which is, they outsmarted us, so we don't like it. Now, one thing that is also changing is the fuel.
Yep.
And so I know Ferrari, Haas and Cadillac, I think they're partnered with Shell. Audi is partnered with BP, but they're the only ones who have their fuel approved.
Correct.
So if Red Bull and others don't get their fuel approved by Australia, they got to use provisional fuel provided by the series. Now, is there anything different in the fuel, or is it simply that you don't know how the fuel is going to work with your parts of your engine?
So in total honesty, I have no idea. I've never heard of provisional fuel in my life, but all of these teams, like Mercedes is the big example. They supply a number of teams, like Williams, like McLaren. They've built their engine to run on their spec fuel. And when you put a different fuel in somebody else's engine, it's never going to work the way you want it to. There's no way that the provisional fuel is going to work as well as the custom tailored fuel. So immediately teams are going to be at a disadvantage. The approval process is extremely complicated, and it takes a long time to go through and provide what's called homologation. it's just another wrinkle. Like there's so many things that teams are complaining about. Mercedes has a compression ratio advantage, and Ferrari released this like really, really, really cool rear wing today. They've gone through all the Barcelona testing. They went through a whole week of testing. They ran yesterday without it. And then today they came up with this flip wing. So instead of their rear wing, either the back end dropping or the front end lifting, their rear wing actually does a 270-degree turn, opens up. It looks a little bit bigger. And it's going to be, it's neat that they waited till this late in testing, because it's going to be really, really, really hard for any other team to try and copy what they've done.
Well, and the other, it's kind of, I guess that goes to the engine compression, right? Like Mercedes has figured it out and the others haven't. And now they're like, well, you got to change the rules. Do you think they will when it comes to the engine compression?
So the last year's engine ran at a compression ratio of 18-1. This year, it's like 16-1 or 16.1-1. The way the rule was written is they test compression at a specific, at room temperature, basically. Mercedes has apparently figured out how to increase the compression ratio at temperature. So when the engine's running hot at, 160, 70, 180, 190, 200 degrees Fahrenheit, they figured out how to and it's alleged, nobody really knows what's going on in that engine yet, but it's been alleged that they figured out how to increase the compression ratio. But the way the rule was written, they've complied with every bit. And this is another bout of other teams having sour grapes, saying, hey, wait, this is an unfair advantage. They worked within the rules as they were written, and these teams are spending hundreds of millions of dollars in development. So if you build to the rules, other teams don't figure out how to use the same rules to their advantage.
Yeah, it's not your fault.
It's crazy to think that they've had this long to figure all this stuff out, and then all of a sudden they're caught on the carpet and they're like, well, wait a second, we're not going to be competitive. Whose fault is that?
Yeah, no, it's fair. And I know, TR, you were talking about they appreciate the talent of when you see somebody on TV in the short track, and it's kind of similar to the cars, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I assume so with my lesser knowledge, and I was also going to ask Colin. I mean, the similarities, there's a lot of similarities I don't think that people realize. In many sports, there's parallels. But if I was getting ready for a race, I guess there'd be a routine the day before, and would it change from race to race? Like NASCAR, Formula One must be completely different, or is it the same sort of prep?
Depends on the driver for sure. I obviously spend more time with Tag than any other driver, but within NASCAR Canada, most of the drivers are pretty healthy. They will abstain from drinking generally a couple of days before a race, just to make sure that their body's functioning. The higher level drivers absolutely will be taking care of themselves. As far as the rituals go and the routine, it's really tough because budgets are so different. So in Formula One, these drivers are traveling with personal trainers, physios, mental coach. They've got a whole team of people that are walking them through the weekend, and they'll have food prepped. They'll have everything kind of laid out for them. Once you kind of go away from that Formula One level, the drivers are largely on their own unless they're going to be personally paying for the stuff. So, generally they get pulled in a lot of directions. IndyCar drivers, you don't just jump in the car and go run. There's pre-race meetings, there's post-race debrief, there's all kinds of media commitment, there's sponsor commitment. You're running around. Really, your routine doesn't kind of kick in until you put your helmet on. Like Indy 500, you're running around till the very last second. You can try and hide out in your motorhome, but there's always someone trying to get your attention. You walk out, you get introduced, you say goodbye to your partner. You walk out. Once you get in your cockpit and you kind of get disconnected where all the fans can't get to you anymore, that's when it really starts kicking in.
CL, the racing season officially is coming. Well, we had Daytona 500, I guess, already, so it is officially here. So it's good. Maybe fun.
Did that happen?
We'll chat with you next week in kind of a final preview for the season.
Sounds good.
All right, that's the Racing Report brought to you by Can Torque. Let's get to Connor Halley and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. When they say you're road ready, they mean it. From tires, wheels, oil changes to vehicle repairs. Visit fountaintire.com and find out more.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
In case you missed it, Team USA taking the gold in the women's ice hockey tournament. Megan Keller winning it in overtime, 2-1 over Canada. The Swiss earlier today winning bronze. They beat Sweden 2-1 in overtime as well. And curling, Canada's Rachel Homan beat South Korea to clinch a semifinal berth with our 5th straight win. Canada takes on Sweden on Friday in the semifinal. The other semifinal will have the U.S. taking on Switzerland. And on the men's side, Canada will take on Great Britain for gold on Saturday. In the association, Toronto Raptors back in action. They will take on the Bulls in Chicago. Tip-off 6 o'clock. You've also got the Sixers and Hawks, Pacers and Washington. Knicks host the Pistons. Warriors up against the Celtics. Magic meet the Kings. And the Clippers host the Nuggets. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by John Butchgross of ESPN to look at the Olympic men's ice hockey tournament, and we'll ask 5 questions. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, the Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk, elevate your style.
Gregor, Connor Halley,
Edmonton store, or explore MrDirk.com.
female
Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Hello. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley.
Booster Juice called your name today. You can get a free smoothie or acai bowl.
No way. Heading there now.
Oh my gosh, you and my brother have the same name. Okay, I'm calling him next. I'm hanging up.
Booster Juice Names of the Day is back. 2 names are selected each day, and if your name matches, you can get a free smoothie or an acai bowl. Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. Must be an app member to qualify. Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
If you've got a smart speaker, get it to play Sports 1440.
And it doesn't matter when you listen, as we roll out the Sports Talk
24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Edmonton's home for sports radio is Sports 1440.
Action Electrical Solar Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy. Designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Measles outbreaks are occurring in Canada, including Alberta. These outbreaks are highly preventable. Measles is an extremely contagious disease that is spread easily through the air. The best way to protect yourself, your family, and your community is to ensure you are up to date with your immunizations. Don't get measles. Get immunized. Visit alberta.ca/measles to find out if you're up to date and what to do if you're not. A message from the Government of Alberta.
A claims program for harmed Canadians has begun as a result of a landmark tobacco settlement. If you smoked regularly before November 20th, 1998, and were diagnosed with lung cancer, throat cancer, emphysema, or COPD, you may qualify for a significant payment. To learn more, call 888-482-5852 or go to tobaccoclaimscanada.ca.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk, elevate your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Riverside Honda, 59 years and counting as St. Albert and surrounding areas' premier Honda and Can-Am dealer. It's your dream. Ride it at riversidehonda.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Or 13, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Terry Ryan, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. It's the Gregor Show, always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province of PlayAlberta.ca. And we're going to get to the oil report brought to you by Go Auto. 15,000 different vehicles for you to choose from. GoAuto.ca. Cars, vans, trucks, SUVs, you name it, they have it. 31 different brands, over 70 locations. You will have the vehicle that you want. Great deal. GoAuto.ca. The Edmonton Oilers practiced again today. They'll have tomorrow off. They basically had 3 lines practicing today because there's no Draisaitl, there's no McDavid, there's no Matt Savoy. So they have 9 forwards running through practices, lines, different things today. 2 goalies. Well, they actually had 3 goalies. They had their other practice goalie on the ice today, Brad, and then they had their 3 defense pairs that were there. Alec Regula, of course, is down in Bakersfield on a conditioning stint. He'll get in the lineup tomorrow night, as is also expected that Matt Savoy will play. So, TR, I want to get your thoughts on a few things. So, I went back and I looked because I was like, they're going to play Nugent Hopkins. Because I'll be honest, I've been looking, hey, Nugent Hopkins, third line center, I think it would really work. And in theory, it would until I watch it. And then I'm like, you know what? I don't think it's going to work. And here's why. Because he's on your first unit power play. He's also on your penalty kill. And then you're going to try to get his line into rotation. Well, unless you're going to play him as many minutes as McDavid, it's just not feasible. So I think the Oilers, Nugent Hopkins probably makes more sense now, unless you're going to take him off one of those units. And I don't think they will for the time being, that he stays on the wing. And what do you think what about a checking line that has Podkolzin, Szymanski, and Frederick? What do you think?
Yeah, I think Frederick is a much better player than
he's showing. I agree.
Than he's showing, and on that trio that you just mentioned, it should give him a chance to shine. And Podkolzin, I like a lot about his game. I think there's been flashes, and last year in particular, he he seemed like he was putting it together, and then he just had some bad luck. But I think given that role, and who'd you say the other, Szymanski?
Yeah, Szymanski. I think they're good. I think Josh Szymanski has really opened up eyes in the organization. I think they really like how he played in his time here, and then also at the Olympics. And you know they're not going to expect a lot of offense from him, and that's fine. But I think he's a player they really trust in his acumen defensively.
Yeah, and I think you put that trio together, and if they all, play to their or close to their potential, that would be what's required. But I think they could get dumping and chasing and grinding and creating some open space, and I think they probably, I think there'd be something there for them to chip in once in a while offensively as well. I mean, they've all shown they can do it, and Szymanski, coming into this year, I didn't know a whole lot about him, but.
No one did, man. The guy came from Germany, and most people, it looks like it could be real found money for the Oilers. And hey, some of the signings, obviously Mangiapane has not worked out, and that's a pretty big one to not work out. And obviously they need Frederick to play way better. But Szymanski, if he ends up being the player that early on they look and say, hey, he's got the potential to be a guy that we can rely on defensively. Eventually will probably be somebody, not right away, I don't think, but eventually will probably be on your penalty kill. Like if he finishes this year, I could see him as a penalty killer next season for sure. Big guy skates well. That's kind of really found money. And a really good prospect that you found. And that's what you have to do when you're trading away your first round picks all the time, is you have to find ways to get NHL players through other means.
Yeah, I guess your eyes on every day, but that's you're pretty good at coming up with line combinations. The more I think about that, and found money, isn't that great?
Yeah.
And when you got found money right next to a guy, I'm telling you, I think Frederick got so much more to give. I think he's going to give, and it's been a combination of confidence and some bad luck, but I just think there's way more there. And so two of those guys, of the three, I think are you can get so much more that you didn't have, and with Pod Colson, a reliable guy that I think would complement them well. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by yet another Jason Gregor formula, but I'd like to see it work out.
Wow,
I'd like to see it tried.
Because if we do that, then my second line is Roslovic, Kapanen, and Draisaitl. And I know, hey, Kapanen and Pod Colson and Roslovic might switch at different times, so we'll see where that goes. But that's a line I could see. Obviously, then you keep the top line. Then I know that means Matt Savoy's on your fourth line. I got some people texting, how the hell do you have Savoy in your fourth line? Well, for this reason, because Matt Savoy, him and Henrique, they killed penalties together a lot. Their numbers are actually really good together. They're also on the second power play unit. So if you keep them as a line TR, it's just easier to keep them in a rotation. And then that left winger is like, Janmark or Curtis Lazar or, Mangiapane, and, you rotate around, and obviously they're going to move somebody here to bring in a defenseman potentially. And, that's kind of how I see it. I think, that they like Savoy and Henrique as a penalty killing unit, and, they're on their second unit power play. And if that checking line is the harder line, you look and say, hey, maybe we think the Henrique Savoy line can chip in a little bit more supplementary offense than we've had thus far.
Yeah, exactly. And it would, like you said, the Savoy situation on relative terms, although he's not expected to do what Ryan Nugent-Hopkins does, obviously, but I'm comparing it in a way that it would just, if you mess with it too much, if you tinker with it too much, it screws up everybody else's flow and everybody else's time on ice. So I totally see where you're going with that. And I like him and Henrique together when they're penalty killing. I think Savoy has shown a lot this year that people probably didn't realize or expect was there. He certainly lived up to any expectations that people thought coming in, being that there weren't many other than his draft status and, his time in the minors. But if I'm him, I'm embracing that. And I know that it's baby steps. And I think you've got a player that is in the making of, I think he's going to do more and more as time goes on this season, obviously. But next, I think he's going to get more and more comfortable and play a much bigger role as time goes. But right now, that's it. We need you out there, man. We're not going to send you down. We're not going to – your spot in the lineup's not threatened. But right now, we need you to be fourth line and get out there and kill penalties the way you can.
Yeah. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, that's the Oil Report, brought to you by Go Auto. When we come back, John Buccigross from ESPN to talk Olympic hockey and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Sometimes you think about what you're going to do in the day. Go to work, pick up the kids from school, make supper. But at GS Construction, we think a little differently. Winter is our season to think, to plan, and to improve. We study, we innovate, we train. So when the thaw comes, we're ready to dig, build, and deliver even better, which means we need people like you. If you're thinking about joining the team at GS Construction, now's the time to do it. To apply and to see how we think, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Get down to Harley-Davidson of Edmonton's VIP Spring Blowout Sale this Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 4. New motorcycles are selling for as low as $12,900. And ask us about the 1-year extended warranty on new and used bikes. Bring your buddies, because when they buy a new Harley, you get a $500 referral credit. For more details, visit Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail or at hdedmonton.com. See you Sunday.
The Hockey Super League is proud to launch its 9th season, delivering independent, borderless hockey. This year, over 125 teams will compete across Alberta, Saskatchewan, and for the first time ever, Colorado, USA, with showcase-style action, cross-province rivalries, and a strong commitment to player development. The HSL is the premier destination for families seeking balance and athletes chasing the next level. The Hockey Super League. Hockey without limits. For athletes born in 2013 to 2018, visit hockeysuperleague.com to learn more.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, junior chicken, or chicken snack wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Brick is here to help with deals on your entire bed. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on Sealy memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out the Brick at South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side, and downtown.
This is the sound of a Toyota Tacoma arriving at the trail with 2 high-performance snowmobiles in tow. And this is the sound of a Tacoma arriving at school with 2 high-energy kids in tow. 2 extremes, 1 Tacoma with a powerful I-Force engine. Now's the time to get yours. It's time to Toyota. Lease a 2026 Tacoma Double Cab SR5 from $115 weekly for 60 months at 6.69% with $6,899 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your Prairie Toyota dealer today.
Invest for today and tomorrow. Vision Credit Union makes it simple with 2 RRSP options to fit your goals. Choose a secure term deposit RRSP with guaranteed returns or a mutual fund RRSP offering higher growth potential with exciting opportunities. With an RRSP, you'll save on your income tax, grow your investments tax-free, and get closer to your dreams. Whether it's retirement or your first home, the deadline to qualify for 2025 tax deductions is March.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at Cantork.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
.426, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Terry Ryan, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Gregor Show is always presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca. where you can get into casino, live dealer, lottery, instant sports, all in one place at playalberta.ca, where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province of playalberta.ca. As it's time for our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. And hey, they are back home, finally, in action tomorrow and Saturday night, 7 o'clock start on Friday, 6 o'clock start on Saturday, just so everybody can get home in bed early for that gold medal game, potentially Canada-USA on Sunday. But get your tickets, sgsaints.ca. And gentlemen who, like everybody else in the hockey world, will be intently watching the games tomorrow, but also the game earlier today. The women, another overtime game after 3 overtime games yesterday in the quarterfinals from ESPN. John Butchegras joins us, and John really couldn't ask for more as far as entertainment value and teams 1-goal games that go right down to the wire. 4 consecutive games that were tied in the last 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what we like. That's what we want as broadcasters, especially, and media people. I always say I like to have a game, 3-3 after 2 whenever I do an NHL game. I got 6 goals I've already seen. We have a tie game, get some tension, get some drama. There's nothing like the tension and drama of hockey. It makes it the best sport. It becomes obviously a next goal win, but even if it's tied in regulation, a lot of time you have that next goal win mentality even in regulation. So it's it's a great feeling. It kind of gets you ready for the Stanley Cup playoffs. We only get the playoffs, for a couple of months, 2.5 months, just over 2 months. Some people only get it if their team gets eliminated. They sometimes check out. So you just don't have that feeling a lot. So it's nice when you have a bonus that you can root for your country during the Olympics. Well,
speaking of that, the American women were heavily favored. They've been dominating Canada heading into this game. And in a one-gamer, that's what makes it so unique. It's like anything, man. You got to be at your best if you're in the final of the 500 meter, or if you're in the final of the 100 meter, whatever you're racing. It's no different than hockey. You got to be on. And despite dominating to the tune of 29-7 in their previous 5 meetings, Canada gave them everything they had today. Probably had to be a little bit nervous as an American there heading into the final few minutes.
Oh yeah, that's the great thing about sports and team sports, especially when it's a younger team or a young athlete. But even obviously Canada the other day, when nerves are good, nerves get your attention. Nerves kind of make you hyper focused, hyper concentrated. It's like kind of that fight or flight, evolution wise, we're programmed to have nerves. We needed nerves. So the saber-toothed tiger didn't need us around the corner from the tree. Now, we don't have those things anymore in life. Life is pretty safe for the most part. But with sports, those old kind of evolutionary things pop up. But again, nerves are good. But when it's anxiety, that's when it gets a little different. I think the U.S. women were anxious. I think they weren't nervous. They were anxious, and that's 2 different things. Because anxious, that's when you have negative thoughts. That's when you go too fast. That's when you don't do what you normally do. You can obviously, all of us who played sports growing up, whether it's grade school or high school or college or university, we're always nervous the day of the game. I'd wake up nervous, that little pit in your stomach, and then you deal with it. Ball goes up, whatever, and you go. Because it had your attention all day. But some people, as we know, growing up, some of our teammates couldn't handle that. That's because they were anxious. So I just thought for the most part they were anxious. But then Hillary Knight saved the day. And once she scored that goal, once Suzuki scored his goal, you just knew from there it was going to be fine for the men of Canada and the women of the U.S. You just knew. And then once you saw them dominating the 3-on-3, it was like, okay, this is only a matter of time. Now, Canada had their chance, kind of mini 2-on-1s, and they certainly could have popped it in. And that happens, as we know, in all sports. But yeah, it's just interesting to watch how these athletes deal with pressure at the Olympic level.
TR?
I was wondering, I didn't get a chance to see the U.S.-Sweden. Do you think there's anything they need the U.S. men's team? They have to clean up before heading into the semis here?
I don't think so. They're really a suffocating, dominating defensive team so far, and that's where it starts. Offensively, obviously, you'd like to see Matthews be a big factor, and he's going to have to be these next 2 games. I think the Kachucks are doing their Kachuk things. They throw the puck at the net at all costs. They throw bad angle shots. They have pretty good awareness in the offensive zone. They know how to make a play. And then with playing with Jack Eichel, and then Matthews, Boldy, and Gensel, you're really crafty. They could pop and have a game at any moment. The third line, I think, is coming with Keller, Larkin, Thompson. I think they found something there with Keller. And then the fourth line's a bit of a mishmash. I was surprised Miller and Trocheck were on the ice with 90 seconds to go. That's why I was pushing for Alex Tuch to make the U.S. team. I think he's a great 6-on-5 guy when you're trying to protect the lead. He's big, he's rangy, he can skate, he'll block shots, he'll play goalie up top. Miller just seems like he's having a hard time moving out there. Trocheck's boots are obviously slower now. So I didn't really like those additions to begin with. And then to have them on the ice with 90 seconds to go, they gave up the tying goal. And Hellebuck looks solid. I still think Canada, if they get that far, if it is U.S.-Canada in the gold medal game, I think Hellebuck is susceptible to bad angle shots up against the post and wraparounds. And I think you'll see Canada pepper him with those shots along the goal line. He's sometimes slow, pick it up against the post, or even comes off the post. And as you go around that, you can bank it off him. So that's my only concern. Ken Hellebuck, who has very good numbers, so far had very good numbers going into the Four Nations final as well, the upper 900s, where he's lived in the mid 800s in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So I was happy for him to do that. So that's the only question I have is Hellebuck at these big moments, and as he comes off his basics and his fundamentals, and he can get beaten with those weird goals.
Do you think there's any second guessing about not taking Caulfield or Robertson in the scoring?
Absolutely. Like when it went to overtime, it's like, okay, this is when you want Cole Caulfield. He's a big moment player, 3-on-3. He can take that one-timer 30-foot pass that you get on 3-on-3. So you get 30-foot pass one-timers on 3-on-3, and he can sink down low. He doesn't need much time, so he can sink down low in the goal line, and that's where he's so effective. And then if it went to a shootout, Jason Robertson is the best in the league at a shootout. He's like a 60% guy. So those were two guys once it went to extra time, and these next two games could go to extra time. So I think there's enough talent 3-on-3 that you don't need to have Caulfield per se. You got Matthews and Boldy and Eichel, and there's plenty of talent. Tage Thompson is a one-time beast on a 3-on-3 situation, but shootout time. Again, that's where Jason Robertson would have really come in handy. So if you think in that specialized situation, that's why I just thought Robertson and Caulfield were guys you would take. You iced Kyle Connor last time at Four Nations, and now he's been iced again. Yeah. Like, why did they take him? The coach obviously doesn't like him, or he feels like he resembles other players. He's too much like Gensel or Boldy or Keller. So why'd you bring him? That's where you could have brought Caulfield or Robertson. And like I said, I would have brought Tuch over JT Miller. But again, you might not have to worry about that. You still have plenty of talent. Boldy's a good shootout guy. There's other shootout guys to choose from. But, we'll have to wait until we're completely done and see what happens so we can crush anybody. Because if you win gold medal, every decision was perfect.
Yeah. John, you mentioned Kyle Connor, and I agree with you. Like, it's surprising to me. You look at this guy's a really good goal scorer, but either the coach doesn't like him or he hasn't played very well. Is it a combination of both, do you think? And, what do you make of that decision as to why he's found himself for the second straight major tournament on the outside looking in?
Yeah, I thought he looked good in Four Nations. Like he had the impact. I thought you notice guys when you're watching a hockey game. You can tell guys on your team, guys you root for, and the team you kind of have you're watching from their perspective. You tend to do that. It's hard to watch both teams at the same perspective. You tend to kind of look at your team and see how they go. So if it's a 2-on-1, you don't look at the wingers. You look at your defenseman, how he plays this. When the puck goes in the corner in the defensive zone, you look, okay, how does my guy play this? How good is he on the wall? It's hard to watch both teams at once. And I thought Connor was really good in Four Nations. I was surprised when he was gassed for the gold medal game. Now with this team, again, I still would rather him on the ice than JT Miller. I know they like Miller to kind of check and provide some physical play on defense, but he can't even get to them. He doesn't seem to have the agility to even deliver a clean check like a Tom Wilson would. I'd rather have a guy who can win the race for the puck in the last 60 seconds. Certainly Kyle Connor's got to win races to the puck. And this type of tournament, everybody's going to do everything everybody's going to block shots, especially in a gold medal game. So I just think you need as much skill and as much speed as possible in a game like this. And so, yeah, that's why it just didn't make sense to bring him when you opted for Keller this time. And he's certainly a guy who is a similar player, not quite the goal scorer Connor is, but he's a very good player, good playmaker, high level NHL player. But you had this chance to get these kind of, Caulfield and Robertson, these specialists almost, with the way the rules are set up. It just seemed like it would have been a smarter play. So we'll see if any of these games go to a shootout, and they wish they had Jason Robertson to send out there over and over again, being a 50-60% guy on the shootout.
Yeah, well, if the gold medal game goes to a shootout, I'll be blown away. 20 minutes of 3-on-3 with the skill on those teams, and they can't go to and they need a shootout.
Right.
I'd be stunned. But I do see your point. The fact that they left like the 3 best goal scorers at home was odd, and I do like your assertion of Alex Tuck over JT Miller. Like, you're seeing some guys in the tournament where they just, when you get to best on best, like, speed is even more, it's more noticeable, and you just see it. It's no
obvious. Yeah.
It's no different for Canada. There is some obvious reasons why people felt Evan Bouchard or Schaefer or Chikrin, one of the 3, should have been on the team to help, at least one of them for puck moving abilities, and they're more mobile. And, I do wonder, that's something that I'm guessing I watched Czechia, and they almost said, you know what? Other than Makar, we're not worried about your guys, so we're going to sit back. And Canada really had a challenge with that. And I wonder if Finland matches it, or even the U.S., but because the U.S., they're a better team when they attack. So I'm not sure they'd even want to play that way.
Right, exactly. And I just like Czechia because of Matches and Pasternak. I know Mikko Rantanen's a high-level player, but there's something really extra dynamic, especially in a game like this, when you're trying to make your teammates better. And every time Matches touched the puck, it was just like, I sense danger from a Canadian perspective. He just, he's at the ultimate part of his career now. He bet on himself. He won. He's getting a huge paycheck for 8 years. He's on a really good team. He's going to get his first 100-point season this year. I think his whole mentality has taken a step up this year with his circumstances. And Pasternak, obviously, we saw the one-time bomb. He's just a dangerous player. I just don't know if just those 2 guys, the Finns are very good, obviously, a lot of good players. But are they the Carolina Hurricanes of the Olympics? Like, do they have enough really big time zip, to be able to give, Canada a threat? And I just don't see it.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. John, quickly, Hillary Knight, obviously we had, Haley Wickenheiser Poulin for Canadians, some of the greatest ones. Hillary Knight is basically on, like, when it comes to American women, like, she's the top of the mountain, is she not?
Yeah, no, different kind of player, right? She's, she's big and kind of slow, just like that. She's like Tim Kerr, back in the day when he just stood in front of the net.
Unreal goal scorer.
Yeah, unbelievable. He would have been a Lock Hall of Famer without his injuries. Just legendary. Go back and go on the hockeyreference.com, kids, and look up Tim Kerr's numbers there for a while. And she just, in front of the net, tough to move, amazing hand-eye, deft, smart. That was an amazing tip, how she got it. She saw it, and the way she ramped it, just amazing. And but in terms of now with her stature with the gold medals, obviously that first Olympic team that women at Olympics had, the women, the U.S. won, and Cammie Granado was the captain. But going forward now, she's probably there's more dynamic U.S. players, but in terms of an absolute, resume and world championships and Olympics and today's goal, that's going to put her a different spot.
John, enjoy it. And hey, I think a lot of people wanted Canada-U.S. For the women. They got it. And there's a lot of people in North America who want Canada-U.S. in the men's final on Sunday morning. And hopefully tomorrow both countries can get it done. So it should be fun to watch. Appreciate your time. Enjoy it.
Agree. Early start for you guys Sunday, man. Get to bed early.
Geez, or just stay up late, Johnny. Depends your age, right?
Boston pizza should be a large cheese.
Hey, a young Jason Gregor would make it an all-nighter. An old one will be in bed early, so I can get up early.
Thanks, bro.
Awesome. Have a good one. That's John Buccigross joining us from ESPN. Of course, they're over there covering the Olympics, and man, it was devastating today for the Canadian women. They were leading 1-0. The U.S. tied it with 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. 4th straight game at the Olympic hockey that saw a team come from behind to tie the game in the final 3.5 minutes. Canada did it, then the Finns did it, then the Swedes did it, and now the Americans did it. And the first two, Canada and Finland, completed the comeback. And the Americans. So 3 out of 4. The only team that tied it late but didn't win was the Sweden men. So we'll see. Are we going to get a 5th consecutive overtime game tomorrow? I know Canadian fans are like, no, thanks. Let's just win it in overtime. But you never know. It should be entertaining. Gregor and Ryan will come back with 5 questions next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Game on. Sports 1440 is your front row seat to the wild world of sports. Local legends, national headlines, and everything in between. Your game, your station. This is Sports 1440.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle,
Throw the load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
Get down to Harley-Davidson of Edmonton's VIP Spring Blowout Sale this Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 4. New motorcycles are selling for as low as $12,900. And ask us about the 1-year extended warranty on new and used bikes. Bring your buddies, because when they buy a new Harley, you get a $500 referral credit. For more details, visit Harley-Davidson of Edmonton on the Yellowhead Trail or at hdedmonton.com. See you Sunday.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Want to invest in Alberta's workforce, fill your talent pipeline, and get funding? Careers, the next generation connects employers with motivated, pre-vetted youth through funded internships. Easy, impactful, and risk-free.
When you work with a group like Careers who have experience in that area, they can demystify and navigate all the complex steps and stakeholders that have to be involved.
Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Brick is here to help with deals on your entire bedroom. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on ceiling memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out The Brick in South Common, West Ed Mall, North Side, and downtown.
Any project, commercial or residential, when you need metal and you want it cut or bent fast, this is the place. Metal Supermarkets. Huge inventory, amazing service, and free parking. Free. That's a pretty big deal when you're saving up for something special. Yep, only 3 more payments and this bad boy's mine. And the 1, and the 2, and Metal Supermarkets, the local convenience stores for... And maybe a little polka too. Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
If you're selling a vehicle, Sherwood Honda really wants to get your goat. We mean greatest offer of all time.
Consign with Sherwood Honda, and they can sell your vehicle for you. All breeds, makes, and models, not just Hondas. You can let Sherwood Honda lock horns with those tough negotiators, and you'll reach the interested buyers that flock to Sherwood Honda every day. Sherwood Honda's the GOAT of selling vehicles, including yours. So someone sure would...
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Team Canada finally back in action, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian, 69-cent wings, and you can play, score, and win every game. See more at OnTheRocksYEG.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Rolling through Thursday afternoon. Oh, you're getting closer, hockey fans. How about you are less than 16 hours away from puck drop for the semifinal, Canada and Finland. Did you know that since 1998, NHL players have been involved in the Olympics? This is the 6th time that NHL players have played at the Olympics. And Canada and Finland are the only two nations who have been in the semifinals 5 of the 6 times. The only time Canada didn't make it, of course, was in 2006. They lost to the Finns in the bronze medal game in 1998. Then they won in 2002, won in 2010, won in 2014, and of course didn't make it in 2006. And now we'll look to see if they can get to their 4th final in 6 tries. We'll see. So we get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, as their Better Sleep sale is on right now. It can save up to 50% off clearance mattresses and sofas starting at $4.99. Sometimes you sleep on the couch. Maybe you want to go to bed on the couch because you want to wake up early for Sunday. Check it out, The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys. Question number 1. Obviously, Canada fell to the United States 2-1 in overtime, 3-on-3. Hard to be too critical of the effort they put forth earlier today at the game in Italy. So my question for you, hindsight being 2020, any changes you would have made to this team and changes going forward to the World Championships in 2026?
Well, yeah, they got to get younger and quicker. I think, hey, give them, they were gamers today. No question, but like their 4th line played 5 minutes. Their defense, they had Renata Fast played 31 minutes, for goodness sakes. Like, I think it's clear that, that they got to get younger and they got to go quicker. You got Manis and a few other forwards in college cons. You talked about it earlier, how, the USA, I think, had 7 players playing collegiate and Canada had 0.
Yeah.
So to me, it's got to get younger and quicker.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. It was I have nothing to add. Younger and quicker, and when you look at how both teams were picked, it was a serious strategy that seemed to work for the U.S. women, not for the Canadian women. Outside of the final game, it was exciting, but clearly there's a difference, and I believe it's youth and speed.
Question number 2. Obviously, we didn't get a real great update on Sidney Crosby and what he could do tomorrow. So I'm going to ask you both. What do you think the chances are that he plays? And when it comes to mobility, like, what do you need to see from him to get him out there versus saying, you're kind of just hurting us at that point?
I think he's well smart enough and a great leader to know if he's going to hurt the team. So I would leave all of that in Sidney Crosby's hands and be completely confident that he's going to make the right decision. Is he going to play or not? Not knowing the injury, I have absolutely no idea. You'd think you'd know by now if he wasn't. And if there's a chance he's going to, if there's an actual chance he's going to, me being Canadian and knowing what Sidney Crosby's all about, I would bet the house that he's going to play. And it's probably known now, but not having known what the injury is, it's tough to make that call.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I want him to play, but I'm kind of skeptical. I think if he was playing, you just would have said, like, the day before the game last time, he was like, yeah, these guys in practice, no issue, they're playing. He didn't say that with Sidney Crosby. So that leads me to think he's probably not going to play, which is really unfortunate. But you know what? As far as what would I need from him, he's not a selfish guy. He would know what if Crosby's dressed, it's because he thinks he can play and he can contribute. So I don't question that. But you know what? I hope I'm wrong, but something tells me he's not going to play.
Just quick question 2B for you guys. If he can't wear the C, who's wearing it tomorrow?
Oh, it's Connor McDavid. I don't think it's even a debate.
100% for many reasons, not just because of, I mean, he's the best player. It doesn't always go to the best player, but that often comes with leadership. He's led. People know it. They've seen him lead by example. You know, to win a cup, to be able to lead. I mean, and he's done that at the very least in the last 2 years. If we only took the Stanley Cup final, he's a legend. He's dealt with pressure. He can speak to the media. Everybody respects him, and I think it would give anybody a little bit of pep in their step. And even if it's 0.1% out of 100, giving Connor McDavid any kind of mental advantage is dangereux.
I agree with you guys 100%. Question number 3. When we do get back from the Olympic break, which NHL team outside of Edmonton would you say intrigues you the most?
Oh, God. So far, it's almost depressing to think of that. We're going to have to get back into that mode soon. And that's my answer. Right now, it's the furthest thing from my mind. I'm thinking more about my cat's little toys here than I am the NHL schedule. I'm all geared in for the Olympics, and I don't want to face the depression of just a monotonous NHL season. I hate to say that. I love what's going on. I've been waiting 12 years, so let's get that out of the way first.
I would have to say the team that intrigues me the most, and I do agree with TR, it's been a nice break, to be honest. But I'm quite excited to get it back because the trade deadline's right around the corner. Teams are playing 4, maybe 5 games. I'm going to be intrigued the most by the Columbus Blue Jackets. Can they continue being red hot, and how big of a splash will they make at the deadline?
All right. Question number 4. We know the Canadian men curling guaranteed at least a gold or a silver. They'll take on Great Britain on Saturday. The women in the semifinal. So I'm going to ask you guys, how many medals, which medals will the curling teams come home with?
Well, the men have been on a roll, but hey, Great Britain's very good. I know everyone's talking about how good they are. Yeah, but they weren't better than Canada in the prelims. So you know what? I'm going to say the men win, and Rachel Holman, man, she's put herself in a big hole here, and they've been playing kind of playoff curling here for the last few days, and so I think I'm going to say, guess what? Canada rolls the table and wins both gold, which I can't remember the last time that happened in curling. So I'm going to say we win both golds.
I think it happened in 2006 when Mount Pearl's own Brad Gujou won the gold medal.
There you go, buddy.
I remember who the female side was. Brad Gujou team, I should say. I don't like picking somebody that I'm going to bet against. So I'm saying Canada gold in both. There's no reason to think otherwise. They can both do it. They've set themselves up in a great position, and I'm Canadian.
Final question for you guys. Today is Tug of War Day, which was an Olympic event from the year 1900 to 1920. So I'm going to ask you this. If you could bring back or add any sport, any event to the Summer or Winter Games, what would it be?
I've spoken before about ball hockey at length. I don't understand why it isn't an Olympic sport, given that we just watched women's hockey, the same teams in the final for the most part. I don't even have to look, but I'm guessing 30 years. Maybe there's one time it didn't happen. And you got a sport like ball. I'm not saying it shouldn't be in there. I'm just saying, let's think about this. And you got a sport like ball hockey where, it's hockey, but, everybody can run. And there's, like I said, I've played on Team Canada. I've won world championships. I've also lost to India. I've lost to Italy in the quarterfinal. I think there's more parity than ever. And a lot of people play it. It's a startup thing, doesn't cost much to play the game. I don't understand why it's not in. But if you're asking me what I really can't understand is not in there, that's just full on soccer. You got your under 23 or whatever it is. I just don't understand. It's such a worldwide sport. Yes, the World Cup, but whatever. Still, give me some soccer.
I do like the ball hockey one because they have field hockey. So, which is, it is very different. Let's call a spade here. Field hockey, ball hockey are very different. I'm going to say lacrosse. I'd love to see lacrosse.
Yeah. Good answer.
Cons?
You guys picked really good ones. I'll pick a weird one. There was a sport in the 1900 Olympics called obstacle swimming for sports. And you would have to swim through obstacles, over things, under things. So, hey, we have so many swimming events of people just going in a straight line. Let's mix it up a little bit. I want to see what Summer McIntosh can do when there's a little obstacle in her way. So that's what I'll go with.
Oh, yeah. It was the multidisciplinary sport. Course is an in-water challenge like submerged barriers, nets, or rafts to navigate between the start and finish. Oh, it's kind of like steeplechase.
Yeah.
Except it's in the pool.
Let's go crazy.
Hey, why not? Well, you know what? It's funny you say that because what are those like those races where you're running, but then you got to climb the wall and you're going to the barbed wire and everything? What are those things called? I'd like to see that in the Olympics.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I know people
like Police Academy type stuff.
No, yeah, that's what it looks like. But they're like
a Spartan race.
Spartan race, yes, that's what it's called. So, I do actually, am I not? You know what, Cons? Did lacrosse get added to the Olympics? Now that I said that, I think lacrosse did get added, didn't it?
I think in LA with football,
flag football, right?
Mm-hmm, I believe so.
And I think lacrosse might be in. So, there. So that's not really a great pick by me then, is it? So it's already in, even though I forgot that. I just afterwards, I was like, hey, wait a sec. Might have been in. So now is it, can't remember though. I think it's field lacrosse, not box lacrosse. I'd rather have box lacrosse. Right? Check it out. Is it field lacrosse or box lacrosse, Cons? I think it's field lacrosse.
I'll look here.
Yeah. I think it's field lacrosse, and I don't mind field lacrosse, but this box lacrosse is way better. So there you go. 2006, the men did win gold, but the women won silver from Bob. Thanks, Bob. So there you have it. So, guys, soccer is an Olympic sport. Yes, Dean, he's talking about, but in the men's side, it's U23. It's not the best of the best. That's what he's saying. He would like soccer to be the best of the best.
Well, it's going to be in there.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. Like, they have the best women involved. Why don't you have the best men involved?
Oh, okay.
In 2014, Canada won gold in both.
In curling?
Yeah,
okay.
Jacobs and Jennifer Jones.
Oh, okay. Well, Jennifer Jones, nice. TR, will we be talking gold medal on Tuesday? And if so, who scores the game-winning gold in the gold medal game?
Oh, wow. We will be. Hopefully, it's the goal that makes it 1-0 5 minutes into the game, and it's 6-0 romp. Who am I picking to get it? I'll say Brandon Hagel.
Ooh, all right. Hagel, the pride of Morinville. I like it.
I like watching him play, and he's had a few looks. I'd like to see him get rewarded. And I'll add, if you're listening to this, you're going to be in New Brunswick this weekend. I will be playing with the Habs alumni team, playing in Edmonton and Nakwik, New Brunswick on Saturday and Sunday.
Edmonton. Ooh, nice. Well, TR, no, don't take a stick in the face.
Well, you never know. I'm going to wear my helmet for this one. So.
Nice. Awesome. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one.
Okay, you too. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Edmonton. Talk soon.
There you go. That is Terry Ryan. Joins us Tuesday, Thursdays on Sports 1440. Let's get to the Con Man. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get to the Con Man. Sports 1440 update presented by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. You can fall in love with the Buick for the month of February. Lease a 2026 Buick Envision. All-wheel drive with zero down and only bi-weekly payments of $265. That includes GST. Shop now, northgategm.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
In case you missed it, over at the games in Italy, Canada fell to the United States in women's hockey gold medal matchup 2-1 in overtime. Megan Keller scoring the winner. In the bronze medal game, Swiss knocking off Sweden 2-1 in overtime as well. Curling, Rachel Homan beat South Korea to clinch a semifinal berth with her 5th straight win. They'll take on Sweden in the semifinal tomorrow. The other semifinal will have the U.S. taking on Switzerland. On the men's side, Canada meeting Great Britain for gold on Saturday. In the association, they're back from their all-star break. The Raptors in Chicago taking on the Bulls at 6 o'clock. You also have the Hawks and the Pacers. Wizards up against Indiana Pistons taking on the Knicks, Spurs, Suns, Celtics in the Bay for a matchup with the Warriors, and the Clippers hosting the Nuggets. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll hear Cam Tate's 2-minute warning and be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Hello. You're never going to believe this. Booster Juice called your name today. You can get a free smoothie or acai bowl.
No way. Heading there now.
Oh my gosh. You and my brother have the same name. Okay, I'm calling him next. I'm hanging up.
Booster Juice Names of the Day is back. 2 names are selected each day, and if your name matches, you can get a free smoothie or an acai bowl. Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. Must be an app member to qualify. Booster Juice. Canadian born, blending since 1999.
There's a lot of great seasons in Alberta. Hockey season, harvest season, the winter season, and the even more winter season. But GS Construction is already preparing for our next great season because while the city slows down, we plan ahead. Projects, people, and pipelines. Everything starts taking shape for another strong year underground. We're also getting ready for our next hiring season in March. We want new people who want to build something that lasts. For more on us and to apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Just think, Kevin Carius has been covering Edmonton sports since before TikTok, Twitter, texting, and the Titanic. We may have made that last one up. Check out Carius in the morning.
Jason Gregor,
Sports,
Connor Halley, Terry
your
Ryan.
game, your station.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option.
Terry
Whether
Ryan.
replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance. When you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Prospects Hockey League's 4th season is underway. The JPHL offers elite athletic and academic opportunities across multiple AAA divisions. With over 55 teams, the JPHL is redefining the family experience by making elite hockey financially accessible. All games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV, featuring a showcase-style schedule and competitive matchups. Learn why the JPHL is Western Canada's fastest-growing elite hockey development stream at juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Measles outbreaks are occurring in Canada, including Alberta. These outbreaks are highly preventable. Measles is an extremely contagious disease that is spread easily through the air. The best way to protect yourself, your family, and your community is to ensure you are up to date with your immunizations. Don't get measles. Get immunized. Visit alberta.ca/measles to find out if you're up to date and what to do if you're not. A message from the Government of Alberta.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Well, a lovely Thursday afternoon. As you make your way home, please turn your lights on. Give a little extra space out there. It's chilly. A little fender bender can turn into way too much damage. You don't want the hassle. So get home safe. And you know what? Remember, if you see somebody in distress, it's pretty chill out there on the side of the road, maybe offer to help them out. Because the last thing you want is to be frozen on the side of the road right now. So be a good fellow citizen right now. Welcome back. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website. And today, it's Thursday. That means our favorite game. It's the Daily Grand. $1,000 a day for the next 20 years. Every day. $1,000. Total $7.3 million. Pretty good deal. Good luck. Get involved. PlayAlberta.ca. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Many of you want pickleball in the Olympics. Oh, I'm sure there'll be a push for it. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm there yet. But I don't know if it's that. I know people would watch it because a lot of you play it, so I can understand that. But I'm not sure if it's an Olympic sport for me. We'll see. Let's get to the spec report brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialist, and they are hiring. If you're looking to work for a fantastic company, has great benefits, everything like that, but more importantly, not just for a job, but for a career, go to gsconstruction.ca and search careers. As we are joined by Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet. Spec, good afternoon. And man, another electrifying hockey game today. The Canadian women and the American women going down to the wire. U.S. ties it late and then wins it in overtime. And man, Canada had some chances too. But that's you know what? U.S. has been the best team leading up to it. But it just shows you in a one-gamer, man, all you got to do is be your best for that day, and you can win and compete. And that's what the women did today.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I guess the first 7 games don't matter. You know, this summer, Team Canada's going to look back and say, okay, why did we lose 8 in a row to the Americans? And yeah, they got to look at some stuff, and we got all year to talk about that. On this day, they were every bit as good. There was nothing to choose from. It was kind of like, Jay, it was a lot like the Canada-Czech game, like when Suzuki tipped that puck home. You know, I thought Canada was the better team the rest of the way, even though they gave up a chance or two. And when Knight tipped that puck home today, it seemed like the Americans were rolling downhill pretty much the rest of the way, didn't it?
Yeah, a little bit, sadly. Although I will say in overtime, though, in overtime, I thought Canada kind of controlled the play for a lot. And then just, you know, a great play by Keller, walks around the defender and boom, back of the net. And that, you know, that's, as great as the goalie was, and that wasn't like the greatest goal ever, unfortunately, for them. But they move on, and what can you do? Now now you got to wait 4 years. That's what makes it such a hard tournament, man. It's it is. You got to be ready at all times because otherwise you're going to be waiting for a while.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, like we've won more than our share. You know, Canada has a lot more gold medals than the States do, and then to be honest, the States were the better team coming in. They were the favorite. They found themselves in a pickle and worked their way out of it today. You know, I thought the game, like I thought that is typical of a 1-0 game. There was so many chances to make it 2-0, you know?
Yeah.
Along the way, that just didn't quite. It was like when the Blue Jays lost the World Series. They had so many chances to go ahead, and then we're focused on what happens in the 9th inning. Well, their death came in the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and I think the Canadian team today, they really could have. I didn't love their execution. I thought there was a lot of times when I thought, oh boy, there's something here, and then someone missed a pass or a pass was 3 feet ahead of somebody. You know, to win and beat the best, you got to play your best, and you know they played well, but they probably left a goal on the table somewhere along the way, and a goal that might have been the difference between gold and silver, right?
Yeah, well, their power play late in the 3rd period, you're just like, there was a chance. I thought, man, you score here, it's good night, Irene. And unfortunately, it didn't happen. And man, I hope Poulin is comes back for another one. It would be her 6th Olympics, so we'll see. But you know, she could be Sidney Crosby's age, so I don't see it definitely not outside the realm of possibilities for her. I do think Canada's definitely gonna bring a younger team even to the World Championships later on. I think that there's time for a change there for sure. We'll move to the men's side, and you know, it was an electrifying day. We talked about that. Now we know, Sidney Crosby, Spec. John Cooper was very open about, hey, Brad Marchand's going to play, and I think Josh Morrissey's very close, and Sam Bennett. We'll see. Now Sam Bennett had an illness, but I expect him probably to get back in the lineup. They didn't say anything on Sidney Crosby today, which to me isn't great news. Like, I don't know, man. That could be a huge blow for Canada if Sid can't play tomorrow.
Oh, for sure, man. I mean, he's I don't know. Like, I guess I want to look at it two ways. He's your third line center on that team, but he is on your first power play unit. I mean, to me, it's as much spiritually like he's Sid Crosby. He's your captain. He's your leader. He's a guy that, half these kids on the team grew up with a poster of Sid Crosby on their wall. A lot of that will, if he doesn't play, Jay, I think a lot of that will flip over into, the cause will be win this thing for Sid. And I think that I'd rather have him playing than be an emotional, standard bearer or someone whose jersey's hanging in there and he's not playing. I'd rather have him in the game. Don't get me wrong, but they'll be playing this tournament for Sid Crosby if he's not playing in it with them. And there'll be something to that. They can get by. This team's good enough. They can win without Sid Crosby. But I sure would hate to see it. If this is his last Olympics, it'd be awful to see him go out like this.
Yeah, no, that would be brutal. And it'd be even more brutal, for the Pittsburgh Penguins, because he's their captain. And, Team Canada's depth, they can win without Sidney Crosby. I don't think the Pittsburgh Penguins can stay in the playoff race without Sidney Crosby. That'd be a huge blow to them. So that's another angle to follow. So let's say Crosby's out, Spec. He's played with Stone and Marner. Do you just throw Nick Suzuki in there?
I mean, probably, unless I'm inclined to run Sam Bennett as my center, but I'm not sure why I do that. I think that I would run Suzuki in there. Suzuki's coming off of he's finally put a dent into this tournament here. He had a huge goal last game. He probably is a guy that's feeling his oats and ready to maybe continue to contribute. So sure, that's my play. I think that's everybody's play, is give Nick Suzuki a little bit more time at 3C and run Bennett in on the fourth line with say Horvat and Marchand. Is that how we do that?
Yeah, maybe. I'll say this, I wouldn't mind seeing Bo Horvat get a little bit more ice time. I think Bo Horvat's been really good in his limited minutes that he's had. And I might even consider moving, the one guy who's got to get going 5-on-5 is Nathan McKinnon. And, there's been some rumblings, maybe he's banged up or not. I saw him grimace there with, I wonder about his knee. Just you saw him in that game twice when he went to move. So, maybe that's limiting him. But it would be good to get him going. On the power play, he's been finer when he plays with McDavid and Celebrini. But when he's centering a line, there hasn't been much. So the other option could be is you just put Stone and Marner, because those guys have been playing well with McKinnon. And then, have Hagel and Suzuki on the line, because that Hagel-McKinnon line really hasn't done much 5-on-5.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe you take some pressure off McKinnon as a center and you run him up. You run a whole game with him and Connor and Celebrini. Maybe mix your lines around that way.
Yeah, but without Crosby, do you want to do that? I don't know. To me, I wouldn't start the game that way.
So, maybe I make Horvat my second line center. I make Suzuki my third line center, and who's my fourth line center? Hell, it could be Bennett.
Oh, yeah.
There's some awfully good players there.
Oh, yeah. Right? No, that's true. They got, there's no shortage of good players there for sure. Right.
So, I mean, I one thing you say that I totally agree with is Horvat. He's been sitting down there at 4C the whole tournament, and he's just giving you good shift after good shift, man. He's an excellent hockey player. So if you're telling me you might want to play him a little more in a big game against a Finnish team that is kind of waiting around for you to make a defensive miscue, I like having Horvat getting a little more ice time in that game for sure.
Mark Spector joins us here on Sports 1440. Spec, we do want to talk a little Oilers because, you know what, hey, we're getting close. They don't practice tomorrow. Then they'll practice on the weekend. Paul Coffey will get on the ice. And I made a few phone calls. My understanding on the Coffey situation now is that, Daryl Cates did definitely initiate this conversation. It was his idea, but Chris Knobloch was the one who ultimately, they didn't force it on him. And they said, hey, you know what? He could have said no. It would have been his choice. Now, I know people say, well, he would never say no. Well, if he didn't think Coffey could help him, because here's the thing, even with Coffey on the team, I still think there's going to be pressure on Knobloch. If they don't win, he's going to be looked at. automatically. And so whether you add him or you don't add him, I don't think that would change per se in the summer. But, I think Chris felt like Coffey definitely that there's something kind of missing for the team and their staff. And obviously they've worked with Coffey, and so they know the element that he could bring, right? And the one thing in talking to the players, even again today, was Coffey has a unique way of, like, when you screw up as a defenseman, he'll talk to you and he'll convince you, yeah, but you know what? Sometimes he'll be like, yeah, the forward made a mistake and it's okay. And it makes you feel better about your game. It was kind of an interesting, dynamic to hear that even when you screw up, he finds a way to make you say, hey, no, guess what? You're good. Let's just go back out there and be good. And so, yeah, he demands lots. Because remember when he said, hey, if you guys don't move the puck, I'll get someone else. So it's not like he just sits back and challenges them. But when you make a mistake, he's much more of an encourager than a "what are you doing" kind of coach.
Yeah, for sure. I think people away from the game get caught up in that. Like, let's say the other day, Colton Parayko makes a mistake on that one goal. Would they give up 2 goals?
Yes.
In the game, he made a mistake on one of them, and it ends up in the net. And people are talking about whether he should be on the team. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, I mean, if Evan Bouchard crawled up in a little ball every time he made a mistake that ended up in his net, I'll tell you what he'd never be an 85-point defenseman, right? So, I think Coffey has a really good head around the fact that mistakes are going to happen. And, there's mistakes that you make that you shouldn't make 2 or 3 times. Don't skate the puck in front of your net, things like that. But mistakes are going to happen. It's a hard game. It's a fast game. The ice is crappy, so I think he's just got there's no question that Paul can really speak the language of these guys. And yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, and that doesn't hurt. Like Wallman said the other day, there's an aura with this guy. When he walks in the room, that's Paul Coffey walking in the room. It's not just, some cat who played a few NHL games. So, I guess I'd say this, and in closing, I'd say to you that I kind of admire Knobloch for, listen, if you gave him truth serum, this isn't how he wanted it to go this year.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want Coffey on his staff this season. Or Coffey would have been there. And now things haven't gone great, and he's swallowed hard and said, you know what, the best thing for this team is to bring Coffey back, even if it, he's got to break the news to Mark Stewart, and Mark Stewart's taken a lesser role here, and that's his assistant coach, and that's not an easy gig. But I guess when the owner says to you, I got an idea, what do you think? It's hard not to say yes sometimes, isn't it, Jay?
Oh, no, definitely not. Right. It's true. And so, they'll bring him in and we'll see how it works. Here's my other thing, Spec. From last night till today, and I'd mentioned it last week. I said, hey, Szymanski, I thought I would bring him back up. I think it's a lock that Josh Szymanski is coming back up to Edmonton. And it's just a matter of now people are going to say, well, when's he going to come up? It might not come up until right before that Anaheim game. Obviously, he played in the Olympics. He doesn't need to keep practicing, right? They probably want to give him a few days off, to be honest, right? Because you got to travel and everything. Same with Leon. But the people in the organization are very high in him. And so I was looking, okay, Szymanski comes back. Well, where is he going to play? And I know I've been pushing for hey, you know what? I played Nugent Hopkins as third line center. Well, I went through the shift chart, Spec, of the game where they had him at third line center, and I don't think it works. And here's why. Because he's on your first unit power play and he's one of your main penalty killers. There's really no time to have a 5-on-5 regular third line shift unless you're going games with no power plays or special teams.
Yep.
So I think Nugent Hopkins stays then as your first line left winger. I would play Draisaitl with Roslovic and Kapanen. And then I'm going to play Podkolzin and Frederick with Szymanski.
Ooh. Who's going to score the goals on that line?
You know what? I'm looking to be a checking line. Offense really, they can chip in. I think they can chip in enough, right? Podkolzin's actually been an excellent goal scorer this year. And I know that obviously plays with Draisaitl, that helps. But I think, and the other, there's two, I start there with Frederick, and maybe it ends up being Savoy, but I start there with Frederick, 2 reasons. There's a new start, and he was a third-line player in Boston. I looked, the year he scored 17 and 18 goals, he didn't score those goals playing with Marchand and Bergeron. He never played with those guys. Literally, he played 50 minutes the whole year combined with the two of them, right? So one year and the other year was 110 minutes. So most of his minutes were on a third line. And I don't think Frederick has just lost every ability in his body, right? He had a terrible start. I don't doubt it. but I would try it there. But I like the size and the speed of the line. And then I'm going to keep Savoy with Henrique because I know they penalty kill together. If you look at all their numbers, they were actually very good. Henrique comes back. I think that's a no-brainer, especially where the penalty kill's floundering. And so if you play them together in the PK, and I know they don't get a lot of minutes, but they are both on the second unit power play, you can keep them as a line in the rotation. And then it's Lazar or Janmark or Mangiapane. Pick your poison until they make a trade. That's what I would do there. What do you think of Szymanski? And do you think I'd like to see him get a look there? Because I think with Podkolzin and Frederick's not a bad defensive player. Like he's not a stiff in his own zone. Like he can play defense.
Well, I listen. I feel like this team could use a little youth. I think Szymanski's earned a spot. I like pretty much everything you say. To me, if you're going into playoffs with a guy who to date has 5 NHL games under his belt and an Olympics playing for Germany, and he's my 3C, I'm not strong enough at 3C. 3C is an important position. You know, all the great teams I ever covered that won Stanley Cups. You remember 06, how good Mike Pekka was at third line center? They all, there's the third line center is a big part of the team that wins. Guy Carbonneau, John Madden, Sammy Paulson, Craig McTavish back in the day. Like, those guys are established NHL players that are good on the draw. They're important face-off position. That's an important face-off position. This isn't nothing. I got nothing against Szymanski. He hadn't played long enough to play 3C on a team that's going to win a Stanley Cup. Not in my books.
All right. Well, we'll see. Jake Gunsel was a first-line winger as a rookie with no NHL experience.
First-line winger is not a third-line center, my friend.
No, why would he played way more, man. He plays way more. He played a bigger role.
I know, but he's playing on. Sure, I could put if Szymanski was a winger and I put him up with McDavid and Hyman.
I don't think he's going to score 15 goals in the playoffs.
I could hide him up there. Who knows? Lots of guys score in the playoffs. My point is, you put him on that line with Podkolzin and Freddie. I don't know where the goals are coming from on that line. I don't know who's going to score them and who's going to set them up. And B, I don't like him in the circle. He hasn't been around long enough.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, they can try it in the playoffs. You can always go to Henrique, but I'm going to try it and see.
Try it before the playoffs.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When I'm talking Anaheim. You jumped ahead to the playoffs. I'm talking about next week. Try to see it.
Starts in 20 games, 25 games.
Yeah, well, I know, but that's so that you have a long time to see it. You have to start here first. I can't get to the playoffs. They got to make the playoffs first, Beck. That's not a lock. It's
playoffs.
It's pretty confident, but it's not a lock for me. So I just think that Szymanski's opened up a lot of eyes. His playing the Olympics didn't hurt either, and I think that like all I know, and it's not just off. He's very reliable defensively. That's the one part about his game. I remember when he had his coach on, we had him in the summer. He just said the one thing, he goes, Szymanski right now could play the defensive side of the game in the NHL. And so I think even when he came up here, Spec, you look at his numbers, look at his goal share on a bottom six that gets caved. He wasn't, right? I get it. It's limited minutes, but early on, the results have shown he's not a guy who's going to give you problems in his own zone. Now, he's not going to take on the other team's top lines. That's what McDavid and Draisaitl will do. Today's NHL is different than the third lines of the 80s and 90s where they were checkers. Today's third line plays the other team's third line for the most part. So that's why I think that I would try it to see what happens. So,
well, it'll be interesting to see where they use them because I'm not even sure. Do you think that the Oilers see him immediately as a centerman?
I do. Yes, I think I do. Yeah.
Okay, so to me, then we know who the first two centers are on this team. It's him and Henrique are the bottom two centers, and I guess we clearly know what Henrique is, and he's not going to get better from here on in. In fact, I think we'd all agree this is Henrique's last season here. So the question is, how much of a share of that, of that position can Szymanski steal right away, or are we, or does Henrique's veteran status is he still going to be better at it? And we start next season, Szymanski at third line center. I guess we're going to see how that unfolds, brother.
All right, Spec. We will chat with you tomorrow, and we'll know who's in the final.
Cool. All right.
Thanks, Jake. All right. That's Mark Speck, the Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction. We'll come back. We got stat of the day. We got an interview one-on-one with Adam Henrique, the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Hey, hon, I'm getting expressions and images to frame my hockey card collection in the man cave.
Perfect. I'll come with you and bring our wedding photos. For sports memorabilia and family treasures, think Expressions and Images, your local custom framer since 91. You name it, we frame it.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love, better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Mr. Reuter gets a colonoscopy.
All right, Mr. Reuter, just relax. We're almost finished.
Now, what am I looking at on the screen?
That's your large intestine.
Wow, the pipes of the human body. Incredible. This is just like when we use a camera for sewer inspection, except you probably don't find tree roots.
You'd be surprised what we find.
You know, once I found a bunch of Hot Wheels.
Hey, me too.
For a plumber who values healthy pipes, call Mr. Reuter.
If you manage or lead a team, join your peers April 14th to 17th at the Banff Management Course. PA Douglas Training invites you to 3 days of immersive leadership development in beautiful Banff, Alberta. Learn how to manage conflict, motivate and influence others, strengthen teamwork and improve productivity. Proudly Canadian, PA Douglas has trained over 150,000 professionals. Registration includes 3 nights at the Banff Springs Hotel, breakfast, select meals, refreshments, and course materials. Register now at padouglas.ca.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrobacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. And yep. Since 2009, All Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All Star Construction is all about.
Welcome to Uncommon. Welcome to Subaru. Engineered for Canadian winters, built for real-life confidence. Tackle the ice and snow with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive, delivering the power, control, stability, and grit you need. And when the temperature plummets, you'll cruise in comfort with heated seats and heated steering wheel. All this plus peace of mind with Subaru's top safety pick status for 19 years running. This winter, it's time to get you into a Subaru. Visit Subaru.ca today.
The place to cheer for Canada loud and proud is Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge. The ultimate sports bar to watch the ultimate winter events. Not a bad seat in the house, tons of big screens, and a first place menu with something for everyone. Small bites, big bites, game night food and drink features. Cheer on Canada's team at Selly's at all 3 Century Casino locations, Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Every day is game day at Century Casino.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Papa John's is making you 2 or more items for only $9.99 each from their Papa Pairings menu. Enjoy a medium one-topping pizza, boneless wings, cheese sticks, and more. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
This is a great song. Big fan of The Weeknd. Like it. I'd like to see him in concert, actually. So, I think he's a pretty good singer. Still, I always chuckle every time I think of the Super Bowl when he's in the House of Mirrors. God, it was funny. It's one of the greatest memes there for a while. It was an absolute classic. Welcome back to the Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Gay, good news. A good friend of the show, Mark Kennedy, is him and his team Jacobs are into the final of men's curling. God, be awesome. Kennedy just gives it a big bleep you to all those who call him a cheater. Kind of embarrassing, but especially, it's funny. I noticed a few people pulling up things. Mark's actually the one guy when the opposing team had one of their handles on their rocks that was it was loose, and so they're in the briar, and the other team missed, and Kennedy's like, well, the right thing to do is they got to reshoot that stone, because it caused them to have the you couldn't turn it because the handle was loose, and so when you went to spin it, obviously the rock spun kind of way out. So, look, is my index fingers touching the stone? Clearly, that's changing everything. Incorrect, but nonetheless. Welcome back. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We are going to get to Adam Henrique in a second, but first we're going to get to our stats of the day, brought to you by All-Star Construction. What do they focus on? Underground utilities, power, gas, telecommunication, street lighting. They also do directional drilling and hydrovacing. They help shape and build Edmonton communities. That is All-Star Construction. And we're talking about Josh Szymanski earlier today, and I feel there's a very good chance that Josh Szymanski will be in the Oilers when they return out of the Olympic break. There's obviously some salary cap things they're going to have to work around, but I think there's a very good chance you're going to see him on the roster. I think people in the organization liked his 5 games before he left. Obviously, the Olympics are even better, but they view him as a very responsible defensive player. And when you look at it, like, here's some numbers. You look at Szymanski, and I want to include it because his 5 games came at a time when the Oilers were leaking goals all over the place, right? Their last 5 games here have not been good. They've been leaking goals all over the place. Not Szymanski. Szymanski, when he's on the ice, 5-on-5, has outshot the opposition 25-12. He doesn't give up much, right? He's outscored the opposition, which for the bottom 6, pretty good. Even if you're not a believer, wow, yeah, but his expected goals, basically 60%. So solid. This guy doesn't give up a ton. Now, I get Josh Szymanski is not saying that this guy is going to be out there in the last minute of a game, but against the third and fourth lines of other teams, he's done very well. He's also managed to chip in 2 points in 5 games, which for anybody in the bottom 6, that's monumental. And Josh Szymanski, bigger body, can really skate. Some of you obviously were probably watching closely when you're watching Leon Draisaitl. And, Szymanski, hey, lots of guys will look good playing on that wing, but, Szymanski's, his hockey IQ, like Leon Draisaitl raves about him. Maybe because he's a fellow German. He kind of joked about that. It's nice to talk German in the locker room, but Szymanski comes in. And when you look at the Oilers, here's the players amongst, you look at their depth guys who don't play a ton of minutes. So Szymanski in 5 games, where, by the way, again, the Oilers have been leaking goals. He's plus. He's outscored the opponents 4-3. Then you go down the lineup to other depth forwards on this team and where they're at. Trent Frederic's being outscored 23-10. Noah Philp when he played, and Noah Philp got outscored 10-3. Right? He got outshot 64-48. I think a big reason why when they put him on waivers and then when Carolina, they didn't reclaim him because they're like, well, we think Szymanski's better. Right? Matthias Janmark being outscored 18-8. Henrique's being outscored 21-10. Mangiapane's been getting murdered, being outscored 37-18. Ike Howard outscored 14-8. Quinn Hudson outscored 2-1. Right? David Tomasic outscored 10-6. So you look at depth forwards, Szymanski's the one guy who's not. And then you look at his shot share. It's amazing compared to everybody else. Right? Like Quinn Hudson, people love him. Well, when he was up here, played only 4 games, I get it, but he got outshot 20-9. So Szymanski has a lot of numbers that tell me there's reason there to think this could be your guy. And the other reason why I think Szymanski's the third line center is because Nugent Hopkins, well, I wanted him to be the third line center. I didn't think it closely enough till I saw it in action, and then I checked the stat line. It doesn't work. Not because he can't play it, but because he's on your first unit power play and he's one of your top 4 penalty killers. He doesn't really have an opportunity then to get the third line rotation unless you're going to play him as much as McDavid or Draisaitl's line, which of course you never will. So it just doesn't, feasibly, it doesn't work. It probably works more as a second line center when you load up McDavid and Draisaitl. Sure, that works, no problem. But it doesn't work as a third line. There's not enough minutes. So I think Nugent Hopkins stays as your left winger. Now you need a 3C. And the reason I want to try Szymanski, and because everything I've seen I like, is I would argue now the bigger need on this team is a second pair right defenseman. Then I can have Nurse and Wallman on the left side with Ekholm. I know that means Spencer Stastny becomes your number 7, and hey, that's a pretty damn good number 7. Right? I've liked Ty Emerson this year in your third pair. Right? Like Ty Emerson's numbers are very, very good this year. Big improvement from last year. So Szymanski's stats, I know it's a small sample size, and some people might be leery of it. I get it. But I'm telling you, I'd have no issue with keep giving him a run. Because worst case scenario, hey, I can play Henrique there. I can play Lazar in the playoffs. I've got some other options, right? Curtis Lazar, did you know that Curtis Lazar in the defensive zone on his strong side is 65% on faceoffs? So if you want to play Lazar with Henrique on a line, you got a lefty and a righty. You got Henrique on his strong side in the D zone. You got Lazar on his strong side. You're pretty confident you can say, hey, we can put those guys out there. 65%. It's damn good, right? That's very reliable. That's what you want. It's going to give you a pretty good opportunity to have the puck. So you have other guys in case Szymanski maybe gets overwhelmed a little bit. But he's an older rookie and got the size, got the speed, and he's got real smarts. So I'm on the Szymanski train. And that's the stats show it from All-Star Construction. Now, let's get to the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, of course, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change, no overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Tater, of course, a longtime journalist in town, born with cerebral palsy, wheels around in his wheelchairs, never let him slow him down. And through the wonders of technology, Cam's words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
There isn't a snowman's chance in a Tim Hortons oven at 4 a.m. that the Canadian women's hockey team is thinking the same thing I am right now. Not after losing a heartbreaker to the U.S. just hours ago. And honestly, I wouldn't expect them to. But here's the thing. While they're feeling the sting of defeat, they've unknowingly handed out years, maybe decades, of homework to thousands of young Canadian girls. Homework that looks like early morning practices, backyard rink dreams, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. I wheeled into the Sports 1440 studios just before 1 p.m. today. The third period had just started. Lowtide, in his infinite wisdom, and I mean that, said, if the score holds, this will be talked about for years. And he wasn't wrong. The U.S. came into this tournament like a freight train, blistering through with a 7-0 record and outscoring their opponents 33-2. Canada? They weren't even supposed to have 10 shots, let alone a chance. But what did we get? A gritty, gutsy 1-0 Canadian lead that held strong until heartbreak, 124 seconds left in the game. The U.S. tied it. And then, in overtime, they won. It's a tough pill to swallow, but let's not forget, this wasn't just a game. It was a battle. And Canada showed the world what grit and heart look like. Because every pass, every goal, every ounce of grit they showed tonight wasn't just for a medal. It was a masterclass in what it means to fight for something bigger than yourself. So, to the Canadian women's hockey team, you may not see it now, but you just inspired a generation. And that's a win no scoreboard nor medal podium can measure. 2-minute warning. Gregor, Haley, Kruger, Tate. Sports 1440.
It was an excellent effort coming in as a big underdog, and man, they were close. 2 minutes away from would have been one of the biggest upsets for sure. Because look, like America had dominated them in their previous 5 games to the tune of 29-7, including a 5-0 win earlier in the tournament. And Canada didn't look in the same stratosphere. But man, today they controlled much of the play for long stretches. USA had some runs too. But man, that was a good game, good effort by the women. We'll come back. Adam Henrique, a one-on-one with Henrique. Some interesting thoughts from the veteran on, hey, how do you help the penalty kill? How can he get back to scoring a little bit more goals? He's not going to be a 25-goal scorer anymore, but obviously wants to be more than a 2-goal scorer. So we'll get to that when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great, but you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium one-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Hey, Edmonton. Did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Made for some rough roads, but it means trails are now packed and ready for action. Don't miss out on riding adventures this winter with the Ski-Doo from Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. Work or play with new 2026 Generation 5 models with class-leading design and power. And right now, take advantage of 5.99% financing OAC. Only at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. 15 Inglewood Drive in St. Albert. And always at riversidehonda.com. Shop local, shop Canadian.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Brick is here to help with deals on your entire bedroom. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on Sealy memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out the Brick at South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side, and downtown.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Edmonton sports fans stay informed with Sports 1440. Stream us. Listen to us on the AM dial. However you consume this radio station, thanks for listening.
Portions of this hour brought to you by 01 Hockeyology. Keep your game sharp all season long at 01. And Advanced Skating Milk, classes to enhance shooting, stick handling, and more. Sign up today at 01.ca. That's ZERONE.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
We roll through Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. And we're going to get to a conversation I had with Adam Henrique, who's fresh, rested, and ready to go. Obviously coming off a broken finger, got a few extra days off due to the Olympic break, and caught up with him to discuss the second half push and more.
Extended break for you, of course, coming off of the broken finger. Is that an injury that's easier to come back from because you're able to skate and stay kind of in condition?
Yeah, it was that helps. It's no fun skating with no stick or anything out there before the break, but again, it just kind of allows you to stay into a routine of skating and being on the ice, keeping your conditioning high and all those sorts of things, which helps and makes it easier. If we didn't have the Olympic break, to just get right back into the game. So it's more now that we're back, it everything feels good, and timing wise, the break kind of helped my situation a bit and saved us a couple of weeks. And then we still get this entire week before we start playing too, to actually practice and just get back to used to handling the puck and shooting pucks and all those sorts of little things, and just get back to feeling myself again.
Any issues do you feel coming back, like puck handling, anything like that?
No, it's been good. When we were actually shooting, using the stick and shooting pucks and playing with pucks before the break, a little bit to where we could, which was nice. Just kind of nice for the mindset with the injury to know that, we're at a great spot heading into the break. And then that would just allow us to get, 2-3 weeks more, which we still needed that time, but we're not missing games, which is good. So now this week just helps me get up to speed and shooting pucks and still doing the off-ice stuff that needs to be done for it. But, I fully expect to be ready to go next week.
You're a main part of the PK. The first 2 months, 26 games, it was 80.8%. The next 25 games, it was 81.2%. Really consistent. And then the last 5 games, it just fell off a cliff with allowing 9 goals. Watching those games, is it an easy fix? What did you see there that can get it back on track? Because basically for 53 games, you're 10th best, but suddenly a horrible 10 days, and now you're 27th.
Yeah, you can go through stretches like that, I guess, but every time if you get scored on, or say you have a down game, you go right to the video and try to fix those things. Unfortunately, we had a stretch where we were giving up 1 or 2 a night, and kind of put us into that hole. But we talked a little bit so far, just making a couple little adjustments, nothing crazy on the PK. So once we get back to more into the details of our game coming back out of the break, we'll be going over that kind of stuff, and where it should help simplify things and allow us to maybe be a little bit more aggressive in areas where we've given up some opportunities on the kill, where now we should have that covered more. But again, the kill is it's just it's a hard working area. You want to try to outwork the power play at times, muck it up, make it ugly for the power plays, the high end skill guys on that side of things, and try to frustrate. And then it just comes down to, blocking shots, getting saves, all those sorts of things that, everybody has to contribute and as a complete group. And, when we're doing all those sorts of things and we're getting 2, 3, 4 changes in one penalty kill, that's when we're at our best. So, certainly an area to improve of. of the stretch going into the break, and then coming out of the break, and all the way really down to the end of the season, that will be important for us.
Speaking of the end of the season, prior to the injury, your offensive output probably wasn't where you wanted it to be from what you've done in your career. There's a few guys I think that like that. For you, how do you look at coming out of this final 24 games and chipping in offensively that you're capable of?
Yeah, I've always, anytime there's, I've gone through slumps or down spurts, it's a matter of just working through it. And I feel like times of getting opportunities and getting chances where they're not going in the net. And you can easily get frustrated at that. And then that's where, things can snowball and go the wrong way. And you start cheating the game a little bit, and and it can, then other things go the wrong way. So, for me, just making sure that my complete game is there. The defensive side of the puck, the penalty kill is a big part of that. And each game is, the flow of each game is always a little different. Just whether we're getting a lot of power plays, whether there's a lot of penalty kills, 5-on-5, if we're up, if we're down, those sorts of things can play into that a bit. But for me, it's always just that simple hard-working game. If I can get to the net, bang pucks in around the net, that's where I score a lot of my goals. It's kind of in that hash marks front of the net area. So, a matter of getting there to find those opportunities and find some ugly ones to certainly improve on the first 3 quarters of the season. And certainly want to finish off better there the last 24.
I think it's probably fair to say you guys aren't where you want to be as a group collectively. You've had some good stretches. You had that 125 game stretch where everything was really working, and then before and after that, it hasn't been. I know you can't just flip a switch, but where you guys have gone the last few years, you obviously have a lot of talent. You have the ability to do it. How do you ensure that you get that focus and consistency on more of a night-to-night basis down the stretch?
Yeah, it's just, it's kind of interesting timing coming out because, it's always trade deadline every other year, trade deadline, and then it's the stretch. That's it. And, coming out of the break here, we'll have, 4 games really, and we play on trade deadline, and that's kind of one of those main areas of the season. And then there's, 19 or 20 games left, and that goes by quick. And, the standings are so tight this year that, maybe a 5-game stretch either way can put you in a good spot or a bad spot the other way. So, collectively we know what it takes in here to win and to be in a position where we want to be. And I think it's just a matter of, understanding that we have to raise our game to a level where, it's that playoff hockey mentality. And, the last couple of years, there's a lot of hockey played, and you can go through those stretches where, the excitement level isn't as high as the games down the stretch. And that is a thing. But now, we have all those teams for a number of years who are rebuilding while they're all good, and it's, that's the reason why the standings are so tight everywhere. And a lot of those teams, they're at that level, they're playing to be there for the playoffs. So that desperation level that you can see for a lot of teams is already there where, we have to find that level and raise it, and raise the bar, within our dressing room across the board, top to bottom. And, I'm sure we'll talk about it lots when we get our team back here going again, but, you can tell everybody's excited and working and looking forward to getting back to things.
So Adam Henrique ready to roll, and he'll be fired up, man. He's been well rested, and should be a good addition to help out at least on the penalty kill, and hopefully get back to scoring, not necessarily the rate he has before, but definitely higher than the 2 goals he had scored so far this season. On behalf of Connor Halley, Terry Ryan, Cam Tate, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Thanks as always for listening and watching. Enjoy the games tomorrow. Will you be on the edge of your seat? Should be fun. We'll break it all down tomorrow afternoon. Let's get to the Con Man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca. If you're looking for good, healthy meals, chef-prepared meals, go to meals.loca.ca and they will order them right to your door. Meals.loca.ca. Good night.
This is a